Before we begin today's podcast, we have a quick word from our sponsor. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. Speaking of America, our top athletes are over in Tokyo competing for gold, and DraftKings has a medal-worthy offer just for our listeners. Listen to this great offer. Place any pre-event wager of $1 to be eligible to cash $100 in free credits if America wins any medal this year. That's 100 to 1 odds if an American athlete stands on the podium and receives gold, silver, or bronze this week. 100 to 1 odds as an offer like this doesn't come around often. So sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook now and get in on all the action. I love using DraftKings Sportsbooks. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instruction for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and families have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits if America wins a medal. Again, that's promo code THPN to turn $1 into $100 in free credits for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, must be 21 or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only, and new customers, this applies there. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I am your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there is no shame in his game because he is always the same.
All right, that's me. What are you doing?
I don't know, Grump. I was switching something up.
Stay in your lane, bro. Just stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane.
You're the fop of this podcast. You're just there, something I can just riff off of, okay? Don't let people think you're creative or you're humorous, because you're not. Everyone knows it.
People are filling my heads with thoughts of grandeur, Grumpy, that I have more of a role than I do.
Well, you've been talking to the wrong people, because that's not what you're all about. I hate to tell you.
Oh, goodness gracious. Before we get today's podcast started, remember, it is important, guys, to subscribe there on YouTube, like on Facebook and Twitter there, just so you don't miss out on any of the action. We go live every single Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, we'll be going live here this next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time there with Coach Tommy B, grumpy old man. And
I've heard that because it is imperative that you subscribe to this program, because, I've heard that some members of the rah-rah Islander cartel don't like what TJ and the grumpy old man represent, which is honest, above board entertainment. We tell the truth, and some of them don't like that. They figured we should be goose stepping to Captain Lou and battling Barry. But I'm just going to let everyone know who listens to this podcast, I'm never changing. Absolutely freaking never changing. I tell the truth, whether it's good or bad. No matter what, I tell the truth. The unvarnished truth.
Yes, there are the powers that be, heads up apparently say XYZ cannot associate with certain members, TJ and the grumpy old man, the dangerous grumpy old man. But I know Grumpy's not going to walk on eggshells. It's not going to change who he is. He's going to do exactly what he wants, no matter who's calling down. Nobody's signing his checks. He's going to do exactly what he always wants to do.
And all it's going to do is just piss me off and make me get more angry. and laser focus my attacks.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, man. I'll tell you, kind of switching gears. But yes, it is imperative and important just to hammer that home again to make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. And then actually the page is there on Facebook and Twitter. Again, just so you don't miss out on any of the action. But talking some Islanders news, we've got to give a round of applause. That we do for the signing of Adam Pelech. 8 years, $5.75 million on average there in AAV. I thought was an excellent signing by Lou Lamoriello Grumpy.
Yeah, this is the type of thing I've been telling you about, right? You sign a guy like that. You don't let him get to unrestricted free agency. You don't let it happen. You sign him before he gets there, and you give him a long-term deal, right? I think that was an outstanding signing by Capital. I hate to admit it, right?
Hold on. Rump, you're not supposed to say anything positive on this show.
Hey, like I said, I just speak the truth. And that's a great signing. Think about it. $5.75 million. That gets him through the whole prime of his career, right? You look at what some other defensemen are getting paid. $9 million, $9.5 million, which is ridiculous. I mean, here's the thing. Adam Pelech, what's with the face? Is there a face I see? Again,
I'm thinking about the Darnell Nurse contract.
Okay. You just stop making faces, okay?
Am I throwing you off your game? Am I throwing you off your game right now?
Just do what you do best, which is stay there, answer phone calls, read things, do whatever it is that you normally do. I'm going to tell you again, stay in your lane, bro. I'm just going to tell you. All right?
Go ahead. Continue, Grump.
So you look at some of these contracts. Makar is maybe a little bit different because he's so young with that team and the way that they play. But you look at the Jones contract. You look at the Nurse contract. You look at the Werenski contract. I think those are wild overpays. I know they score some points, but, for me, the deal that we made for Adam Pelech was phenomenal. That's the type of deal I'd love to see us make. What does it say, right? Adam Pelech believes in the direction of this team. It's certainly in the immediate future. He's going to be on the team until he's 34 years old, I believe. So you're getting all of his prime years. And when the salary cap does open up again, that deal is going to be a real bargain. All right. Now, what would I do next? If I'm next, I'm approaching Ryan Pulock right now. Right now, I'm approaching him. $7 million per. Because you bring a little bit more offense, you can play on the power play. That's what I do. I don't let him get to unrestricted free agency. I hit him right now. I want to negotiate that next deal for Ryan Pulock. That's what I would do next.
There's a lot to unpack because you kept going, but I thought you had a lot of points.
Well, I just want to give you the grade on that signing is an A, without a doubt, an A.
Oh, I'm just shocked. You get painted as this guy who never says anything positive about the Islanders, and here we are, given an A so far to the offseason. You gave an A in the draft, or you originally gave an A or B plus there in the draft. I think you're getting soft with your age.
No, I look at what they do, and I make those determinations. If you're doing something that's good, you're going to get high grades. If you do something stupid, signing Zach Parise, signing Kyle Palmieri, players of that ilk, signing Travis Zajac, sorry. Those grades are not going to be anywhere near as high. But the Pelech signing is fantastic. Great signing. Great signing.
It is. It's going to take him there through the meat and the prime of his career for certain. I would love for them to approach Ryan Pulock and start negotiating a long-term deal. I thought something you said, though, was important. We've been talking about this last podcast, and I'll mention it here again. When are Islanders going to start taking hometown discounts again? The last guy I can remember doing that was John Tavares. This Adam Pelech was taking, in my opinion, a hometown discount.
Not this year. Not this year, because he's still restricted free agent. He wasn't going anywhere. So they could have went to arbitration, whatever. But long term, yes, without a doubt. He could have gotten more next year. At least I think he could have gotten more next year if he goes to unrestricted free agency. That's for certain.
Long story short, though, he took a hometown discount, signed a long-term deal. I know he doesn't bring the offensive numbers, and as we've always said, points get you paid, and that's evident. I know you hit a little bit there on the Darnell Nurse contract. Man, oh man, what a bad contract there by the Oilers.
They just don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry, they just don't know what they're doing. I don't think Darnell Nurse is that good. I mean, I'm not saying he's defensive liability, but he's certainly not stout back there. He puts up pretty good numbers, but you know what? I put up pretty good numbers if I'm playing with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid on a power play. I know my numbers are going to look pretty good too, just by, hey, he Josh Bailey'd that one over to somebody, and then they made a couple of creative passes and score a goal.
And there's no doubt about it. This last year by Darnell Nurse was the best year so far in his young career. He's another young guy. I mean, he was 26. But I mean, you look at last year's numbers, he was averaging 56 games, 36 points, I think roughly, and the plus minus was outrageous in the plus direction. So he definitely decided to have a career year here before that contract signing. That's for certain.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. That's fine. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're providing a lot for me today, Grum.
No, okay. Here's what I'm doing, because there's been some comments in the past that TJ tends to use the word "there" an awful lot, which he does, and I've brought to his attention. He told me to shut up when I've told him about it numerous times, but now someone else outside of the Islanders Never Say Die family happens to bring up a couple of people. They're like, "Man, TJ says there all the time," and he does. It's his go-to. Like, instead of saying he goes there. So I'm going to keep all night. It's like a drinking game. We're going to play the TJ says there game. Anytime you hear TJ said the word there, which is like a pause, he says, well, if they're doing this, that's a little bit different. But when he says there and everyone knows what it is, I mean, most of them been nice to you. Take a shot, okay, or take a drink. Now, the whole thing is, I expect everyone to be absolutely loaded within 30 minutes, to be honest with you.
I don't want anybody dying of alcohol poisoning. I have no idea how many theirs in quotation marks I've said so far today. We're only 14 minutes in. And again, we had an ad to play, which absorbed like 4 minutes there in the intro. So it's about, only about 10 minutes of actual speaking. Hopefully I'm not too high on the there chart.
Well, you just added a there to the there chart just previous to that. Thank you.
Oh, there. I love to see it. I do want to get back, though, to talking about the Adam Pelech deal. What are the implications that this signing has towards the future here of this offseason? I don't think we're going to see an influx or a flood of information and new deals pouring out over the next few days. I think that's going to be something that slowly trickles out. This was a very team-friendly deal. And you're hearing we signed back a lot of the remaining cast and crew. I'm not a big fan of the re-signing there, or the potential re-signing, or the rumors of the re-signing of Travis Zajac. No need to waste money on him.
Yeah, for me, while this move is a good move because it's a good deal, I don't know how much more he was going to get, considering that he really is an offensive black hole for the most part. Okay, let's be honest, right? But he's a defenseman. He plays defense, which is in the title of the very position that he plays. So I value it more. But on the open market, how much could he possibly get? I don't know. And I'm glad we don't have to find out, honestly. I'm glad he's locked up with us for the next 8 years, $5.75 million. I'm looking at that as a win for us. But, so far in the offseason, see, to me, Lou Lamoriello gets no credit for that. Just signing back your own guys. Doesn't get you GM of the year. I'm sorry.
But we can give him credit, though, that he brokered this deal and he didn't overpay. He at least did a good job in the respect of he had a good negotiation. He didn't cave to player demand, and he got Pelech to work out a team-friendly deal, which is, I think, in the best interest of all parties, right? Pelech wants to win the Stanley Cup. Barry Trotz wants to do that. So does Lou Lamoriello. He's able to get him there on a cheaper deal. We do give Lou Lamoriello credit for that, though, no?
If he wanted to win the Stanley Cup, why is he signing back here? Because unless we improve our scoring and some other aspects of our roster, we're not winning a Stanley Cup.
You did just say that this means that he believes in the direction of the team and he believes in the future. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm just going to venture out there and say, if he took a team-friendly deal, there's probably some implication or some overarching plan that he is privy to that us and the remainders might not be.
So you're trying to tell me that you think Lou Lamoriello is giving Adam Pelech the plans, the blueprint to the Islanders offseason? I'm going to disagree with that.
Well, hey, some people find it out there through searching through garbage bins and, through night shifts there at the organization. That's how they're able to figure out kind of what contracts look like Coach Tommy B does. That being said, I think maybe Lou might have told him something of the lines of, we still have plans to add a offensive weapon this offseason, and we need your deal to be around this mark. I can believe something like that transpired.
Let's hope, because I'm rooting for that. I think it's necessary that we add a high-powered offensive weapon to this team. If we want to contend for a Stanley Cup, we must get another high-end offensive weapon to play with Matt Barzal. Has to happen. Otherwise, we're not going to win. I hate to tell you, but that's something we desperately need. Desperately need. And we've needed it for years. And here's the thing. Lou Boy and Barry, they both know. They both said in a press conference 3 years ago. And have they done anything to address it since then? No, they have not.
They have. Oh, I hate when you do that, because they have done items to improve our offense. They haven't done anything to improve, top six. I will agree with you on that aspect. They haven't done anything to really improve the top six. They have improved, through third line center with Jean-Gabriel Pageau. That's increased the offensive acumen and letting players continue to grow. I think Oliver Wahlstrom is continuing to grow, and he will be a marketable improvement the more he's able to mature.
Well, let's hope they get somebody who's under the age of 30 who can actually put points up. Maybe there's a shot. I mean, we don't have to look at guys of reclamation projects. We don't have to look at guys who were great 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I want players who are good now. That's just me. Call me crazy. I don't know.
So what do you think overarching plan here is for the Islanders this offseason? I think that they are still in the lead there for Tarasenko. I think Tarasenko is going to be a player that we're going to see in an Islanders uniform here starting next season.
I still think that Tarasenko is on the table. Do I know that for a fact? No, I do not. I'm not digging around trash cans at Islander Central, so I'm not privy to that information. But what I will say is I think the fact that he hasn't announced any of these signings means that there's something else in the hopper, because if this was all they were going to do, he could just check all the boxes right now. He's got the cash. He's got, supposedly players are signed, so he kind of knows what those contracts are going to be. But he's not announcing because I think he's trying to do something else, whether that's Tarasenko or another defenseman, since we haven't replaced Nick Leddy yet. I don't know.
I will say the free agent market for left-handed defensemen is quite bare bones at this time period. I think exactly. Unless you're going to go Mr. Inside promotion, you are going to be looking through a trade in some capacity, because your left-handed defenseman is probably going to be a guy who needs to be able to play about top 4 minutes, or he's going to have to be playing bare minimum 17, 18 minutes a night.
Andy Green can't play second line minutes anymore.
No.
If you do bring one of the younger guys up, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, honestly, but do you really think that that's something that Barry Trotz would revel in? I don't. I'm sorry.
It's not going to happen. Remember, how many times did we see Noah Dobson benched for whichever reason that he was benched for throughout playoffs, throughout the end of the regular season, where he'd sit for 10 or 12 minutes and just not take a shift?
Right. I mean, and that's just the way it is with Barry, right? I just found it laughable. You read some publications, or you hear rumblings. Oh, Vince Dunn was the man. I'm like, Vince Dunn made no sense to me, at least before the expansion draft, right? Because before the expansion draft, okay, if you could somehow swing a deal to get him there, that's one thing. But when the expansion draft happens and the Kraken take Vince Dunn, they're not going to be trading a 24-year-old left-handed defenseman who won a Stanley Cup, who's a restricted free agent. That would just be absolutely foolish. And they signed them, 2 years, $4 million per. They just signed him the other day, so that's totally off the table. And now it's like, what's left? I mean, Murray's gone. Is it Zdeno Chara? To me, he can't play anymore. I'm sorry.
That man with the inside hand told me yesterday that maybe Zdeno Chara is someone they're looking at.
I'd rather have
that hand being Coach Tommy B, of course.
Yeah, I'd rather have the memories of what Zdeno Chara used to be compared to what he is now. I mean, he's 44 years old. I mean, it's no crime to get old, but I mean, if you're expecting him to be a guy, he can't play top 4 minutes.
No.
I mean, to me, it's just, I'm sorry. I just think, I don't know what he's going to do, honestly. Is he going to give a young guy a shot? I just find that hard to believe. I'll be interested to see how it unfolds. But here's the thing. How many more weeks before training camp do we have? 4 weeks? Maybe 5? That's it. Then training camp starts. So some moves have to happen pretty soon, Islander fans.
I am not worried, though, about regarding the lack of movement just quite yet.
No, I'm not either. But I think the time is coming where the rubber has to meet the road in some way, shape, or form.
We're going to see it transpire. I don't think Vince Dunn is going to be an answer for us. I'm just not even sure what the price would be on a skater or on a defenseman like that.
Okay,
we're not going to promote from within. We're not going to promote from within. There's no way we're going to give a guy like any of the defensemen in our prospect pool, whether it's, you're looking at Aho, maybe possibly stepping up, or Bolduc. They're not going to play major minutes. Not going to happen.
Why would Seattle sign him to a 2-year deal and then trade him? As 24-year-old, a 24-year-old. He's not some old geezer. I mean, would a 24-year-old even fit in with our defense pairings? I mean, I don't think so. He's risk adverse. We don't want to play any young guys. Maybe Mark Giordano. Maybe that's a guy we should look into. He's 38. Fits right in.
We couldn't hold his cap hit.
That's true. Well, we could right now, as long as we don't sign some of the other garbage we already are linked to.
I will tell you, I am fearful because Coach Tommy B, and I know we'll talk about this on Wednesday, I'm sure, but he presented the idea of we're going to run a rotation of a few older defensemen, a few vets that are going to have, a rolling bit, so they're not going to get too worn out. And around the trade deadline is a time period where we're going to look to add another defenseman there to bolster our defensive ranks.
I don't care what you do on the defensive end. You need another scorer. That's paramount. I mean, to me, the whole system is predicated on playing good defense. The whole system is predicated on playing good defense. I mean, they've showed it for years and years. If you're not going to be good defensively, it's just not going to happen. Why? So you're trying to say that perhaps if we're going to rotate 3 vets and 3 younger guys, that somehow we're going to be able to stay in it long enough. And then what happens if it gels? Then we don't need another defenseman, right? I guess we could just kind of roll with that. Or I don't know. I'm just kind of confused by that logic myself.
Just with the aspect of we can roll out some of the older vets. It's not going to be, hey, look at it like we're going to play 3 young guys and 3 older guys. Imagine it. We're going to have 3 vets that are going to rotate between 2 spots, between your Andy Green, your Chara, and then what else? That's what I could see happening. Maybe we're going to add another defense. Maybe it won't be just Chara. Maybe it will be an additional player, or maybe it's going to be a rotation between Chara, Green, as well as Aho. And again, not knowing the exact positions that they play, left-hand, right-hand defenseman off the top of my head, I just don't believe that Sebastian Aho, albeit a guy who I'd like to see get a little bit more of an open chance, I don't think he'll be awarded that opportunity. And I saw Chara play last year, every game we played against the Washington Capitals. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, how many times did Matt Barzal make Chara look foolish just with his ability to skate? And I mean, Chara's definitely lost a step.
He's lost more than one step. I mean, Zdeno Chara's a Hall of Famer, okay?
First ballot.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. But he just can't skate anymore. I'm sorry. I mean, in the last year and a half, I mean, I saw some of the things we did to him last year, where the year before, I'm like, man, I can't believe that they're just walking around Chara like this. I mean, numerous Islander players, and certainly not just Matt Barzal. And I'm like, man, he's really lost it. And that it just happens. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, Aho is interesting. I'd love to see him get a shot. I just don't know if Barry's going to give him a shot. That's my whole thing. I'd love to see him paired up with Scott Mayfield, for example. I'd love to see that pairing because he's a puck-moving defenseman, and Scott Mayfield is stay-at-home, right? I mean, I think that would work nice. I have no problem with that at all. But would Barry do that? See, the over-reliance on veterans, I'd much rather break in a young guy and train him the way you want him to play, as opposed to bringing in another older vet who's going to get more money than probably they deserve at this stage in their career. That's all.
Well, they would be on a vet minimum contract.
Okay, vet minimum like Andy Green, where you got to pay $1.3 million in bonuses the next year. I mean, there's different type of vet minimums. If you're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, is that really a vet minimum contract? Because Andy Green cost $2 million last year, in essence, just from playing games, bonuses, right? I mean, let's just call it the way it is. So he wasn't vet minimum. Okay, Chara signed for vet minimum last year for Washington. I don't believe he got any bonuses. I didn't see any bonuses on cap friendly for him.
He had no vet incentives.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure here off the top of my head. Unhappy, though, possibly about the grumblings or rumors about Travis Zajac rejoining the ranks.
Another example, right? You already have. Why not just give one of your younger guys a shot? Why sign another over-the-hill player, another veteran in his mid to late 30s?
And I am not a Michael Del Cole fan by any way imaginable. I will tell you this, though. I think Michael Del Cole brings more to the table and offers more than Travis Zajac at this point in time in their career. So if you're trying to compete and we want to make sure we want to have a veteran presence out there on the ice, yeah, Michael Del Cole is not going to score goals and put up points in droves. Neither is Travis Zajac. I'd rather roll the dice with Michael Del Cole on a night in, night out basis if, it comes to absolute hellstorm where we have to rely on a guy like Travis Zajac if he is signed. Again, these are all rumors. That's, that's coming out of Elliot Freeman. He's here and there that he's been linked, Travis Zajac. But I do have another question for you.
Well,
I'm giving you a lot to unpack. Go ahead.
Okay, just real quick. I've also heard that Michael Del Cole will be back on a two-way deal.
Okay.
So take that for what it is.
I did not know that. Okay. I'm glad you made me privy to that. Serious question, though. If Travis Zajac signed back with the Islanders, which is what the rumors are saying right now, and I feel like I'm a schoolgirl. Hey, what am I hearing from him? What am I hearing? We're just trying to keep up with all these rumors, and that's something that Lou Lamoriello does very well. He keeps a lot close to the chest, which is good. But seriously, who else would sign Travis Zajac if not the Islanders? If we thought Lou Lamoriello was not the general manager of the Islanders, and the Islanders, let's say, even a different makeup, do you think that Travis Zajac would retire, or do you think he would have signed or had suitors out there offering him a contract?
I think that Teddy's Bar and Grill would sign him for a grilled cheese sandwich and a Coke, perhaps. He could play in the beer league.
But in all seriousness, if the Islanders and Lou Lamoriello, if this rumor is true, didn't sign Travis Zajac, do you think there would be any interest from any other NHL general manager with Travis Zajac at his advanced age?
No, I think you could. Oh, here's the thing. Perhaps eventually, but the whole thing is I don't think that he's someone who needed to be inked or have an agreement with yet. That's all I'll say. There are a lot of bigger names out there, higher talent levels than Travis Zajac at this point in his career. And Travis Zajac used to be a very good player. He just isn't anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's going to be 37 years old as well. Are these the type of guys that you want to – I don't understand the fixation with the guys in their mid to late 30s. I don't get it. Give a young guy a shot, develop from within, and then you can slide them into your lineup. Transition away from the older team to a younger one. That's what you should do.
I am happy, though, to hear that Michael Del Cole is coming back on a two-way contract. He does give you that flexibility. He would be – it's funny. Thinking about it, if there were injuries, he would be the first guy. Let's say ideally he's down there in Bridgeport to start the year. If any injuries are coming around, he's going to get the call up. It's not going to be a guy like an Otto Koivula. It's not going to be a guy there like a Simon Holmstrom. It's not going to be any of those guys we have down there right now. It's going to be a Michael Del Cole. And Travis Zajac, 36 years old. I just can't imagine there being a huge market for a 36-year-old center or a 36-year-old left, wherever he's going to play. He's flexible and malleable. He could take draws. He could play center. He could play the wings. I just couldn't imagine there being too large of a market for a player that age.
You already have a player like that under contract. Who was your first line left wing at the end of last year? So why would you need another one? I mean, all we ever do is load up on bottom six guys. That's our MO, right? That's what we do. Forget about the top line talent. It doesn't matter. Let's just play the grind out game, see how that goes. Let's see how it goes over 82 games. I'm interested. I'll see it. 2 years ago, everyone says, yeah, the Islanders made semifinals 2 years in a row. What they forget to remember is 2 years ago, we wouldn't have made the playoffs if there wasn't a pandemic. I'm going to tell you right now, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. Then everyone would be singing a different tune right now. That's all I'm saying.
That is
things are what they are. But like I said, I always say things are what they are. We did make it to 2 straight semifinals. But let's see how it goes over with an aged roster. 82 games, playing that type of style is really, really difficult. Really, really tough.
You know, I forgot to do something. We're about only 30 some odd minutes in, but make sure you check out TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's a podcast we do every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a general sports podcast. All it is controversial sports topics where Grumpy Old Man and myself duke it out. And again, you can find that in the link in the description below on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
I don't see the link.
I'm going to have to go ahead and tutor you. So you got to click the drop down, Grump, and that's how you find the link.
Why does it got to be on the drop down? You say, look at the link below. Why don't you say, hit the drop down and look at the link below? Because if you say, just look at the link below, I'm looking below. I don't see any link. That's
look at the description. People know to click that little drop down.
I didn't know. You say, look at the link below. I'm looking. I don't see any link. So you keep on saying those things. It means nothing to me. Like I said, I actually went onto YouTube and I looked at our thing. I said, I just want to see how pretty I look tonight. And I look at this thing and I'm always looking for this link. Where is this mystical link that you're talking about? I don't know. I've never seen it. So I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
I don't think your demographic, Grump, or who is technologically challenged would be able to easily find something like that. But you could always just search TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That would have still popped it up for you.
Maybe you just should have said, hey, hit this little button doodly whippy here on the left. It drops down a thing. Hit TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Be smart. Listen to that because the Grumpy Old Man is great and TJ does whatever it is that he does.
Yeah, TJ stays in his lane. The Grumpy Old Man is magnificent, blah, 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 trumpet horns. Oh, the masterful Grumpy Old Man. Oh, goodness gracious.
All right, you could sell it like that too. That's
fine. There apparently are news, not sure how reliable, but saying the Islanders are more in on a Johnny Gaudreau than they are on a Vladdy Tarasenko. Not sure how true it is. I just see things starting to swirl around. So I wanted to entertain the idea of maybe let's entertain it that the Islanders were to be in on a Johnny Gaudreau as opposed to a Vladimir Tarasenko. What do you think that would involve?
Okay. Johnny Gaudreau I know he makes less money than Tarasenko. I think it's $6.75 million, but he's got 1 year to go. And then he's an unrestricted free agent, right? Unrestricted free agent. So everything you hear is that he wants to play for the Flyers. So if you're willing to trade for 1 year of Johnny Gaudreau, what would you give up? I mean, you're going to have to move some salary, right, to bring him in. With all these other ham and eggers that we've signed, we're going to have to offload some salary to afford that contract, right?
And I want to and I 100% agree with you, right? He's going to be an unrestricted free agent after the end of this year. But let's take this step by step because I just think that he is not the right fit for us here. Vladimir Tarasenko's trade value is going to be much lower than Johnny Gaudreau's trade value. Reason being, 3 shoulder surgeries in a row there for Tarasenko. He's unhappy with the Blues organization, doesn't want to be a part, doesn't want to participate, blah, 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 whatever. That bridge is burned. Johnny Gaudreau does not have a burned bridge in Calgary. He does want to go back. He does want to go play for the Philadelphia Flyers. So we might have a potential situation where we bring in a guy like Vanek on a 1 year contract, or we bring him in, he's got 1 year left on his contract. We want to entice him to stay. I might say I'm not a big fan of this, heavy defensive style. Maybe I want to go play a heavy forechecking style there in Philly. I saw that, they made some bold moves this offseason. I think that I'm the last piece they need in order to push for a cup. I think you're 100% right. The risk of possibly losing a guy like that on a 1-year contract, he is a left wing as well. What will we have to give up? I assume it would be substantially more than what we'd have to give up there to bring in a Tarasenko.
Right, and that's why I'm not. Here's the thing. I think Johnny Gaudreau is a great player. Certainly less question marks than Tarasenko, without a doubt. But I just think Tarasenko is a better fit with Matt Barzal right now. That's the guy I want. And just call it recency bias, whatever it is. I would love to see him shooting that puck on a line with Matt Barzal. And I think it makes Anders Lee better as well. I really do.
You also look at the prior history and stats and performance. Johnny Gaudreau has done it consistently at a very high level for years. I mean, the guy's touched 99 points before 2 years ago, the last full season we had in the NHL. He's a guy who consistently put up 20, 30-plus goals every single year you have a full season. And Tarasenko is a guy with a lot of those injury question marks. I would have to assume if you wanted a guy like Johnny Gaudreau, even if he had 1 year left on a contract, which is technically, let's just use air quotes, more manageable in the short term than a Vladdy Tarasenko, you're going to be paying arm and leg for him. It's going to be a Beauvillier plus some.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. It's almost like you have to move Anthony Beauvillier. And is that the direction you want to go in? I don't know. Beauvillier is one of the good young players you have, who you've actually given a chance to, and he seemed to thrive. Yes, he's wildly inconsistent, but you know what? A lot of players are. But you know what he does come playoff time, and he drives that second line. But, I mean, if you're moving him for 1 year of Johnny Gaudreau, I just don't know if that's smart asset management. That's all.
You want to talk about being all in for a short, finite window? That would be exactly it.
Yeah. That's all in and then some. That's all in and then some.
I just think there's not much. I mean, this seems like one of those rumors that I don't see too much substance to. I would just be shocked. I've always thought the right wing position is something we'd need to address. And again, Tarasenko is an easy slide in for a guy like Bailey, and we have to give additional pieces up. I would just be shocked if we're just going to say, hey, let's just continue to roll out there Palmieri, Josh Bailey, and Oliver Wahlstrom as our top 3 on right wing. I'd be shocked with that. I think we're going to make an addition there to that side. I think we're gonna see Josh Bailey going the other way in that deal there for Tarasenko.
Oh, I would love that. That's a great move, Lou. Let's do that. Anything against Josh off our books. Like I said, he's just a guy. There's nothing special about him. It's a market improvement to your first line. Tarasenko, when healthy, and I'll use that caveat, right? When healthy, is certainly a top 10 right wing in this league, without a doubt. And I'm probably selling him a little bit short, honestly.
And I get right. Johnny Gaudreau is a top 10 left wing. I might even argue maybe a top 5 left wing in the NHL. Would you argue against that?
No, I wouldn't. He's fantastic too. But then, okay, so what are you going to do? And yes, I did put the cap on my drink. Why did I put the cap on my drink? Because I didn't want to repeat a TJ incident where he's pouring shit all over the floor and his wife has to clean it up during the podcast.
I'm pretty sure you could even see her head popping into the side frame if you look closely.
How embarrassing!
Oh man, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I'm sorry, but John,
your thought process.
He without a doubt, right? He'd have to be on that first line. Anders Lee would have to drop down, right? He'd play with Nelson and Bailey. I happen to think that that's a pretty good unit, to be honest with you. I think they all play well together. But I don't want to give away a young talent like Beauvillier. I just don't. I guess I don't want to be totally all in for 1 year or two, because then you're ready for a massive rebuild without anybody in your pipeline right now.
I would be fine giving up Anthony Beauvillier if we had some sort of an inkling or a strong belief that Johnny Gaudreau would re-sign with the Islanders. But all I hear is that he wants to go back home. He wants to go to Philly. He wants to play for the Flyers. And that is not reassuring for me. But if you were to tell me, hey, Johnny Gaudreau on a trade, he becomes infatuated. He loves the new arena. He loves UBS. He loves the practice facility. He loves the team. He loves Barry Trotz. He loves the way the Islanders organization is run, and he wants to sign back. Hey, I'm all for it. But it's going to cost more than Anthony Beauvillier. When I say Anthony Beauvillier, it's going to be Anthony Beauvillier plus items.
And I don't want to give up any more first-round draft picks.
Well, we have to go ahead and save those because at the trade deadline, that's when we give up our first-round draft picks, not the offseason grump. They're in a trade deadline. It's when we give up a whole bunch of draft capital.
Yeah, I'm not looking to trade any first-round draft picks. At some point in time, you have to replenish your team. I mean, you think it was bad in the 90s? Just wait. If we continue on this path of riding the geezer squad into the ground, we're going to be back there and then some. At least we had some prospects back then. They might have been mismanaged, but at least we had some individual talent. Right now, we have nothing in the pipeline. Nothing.
I would have told you, hey, I'm super happy and I can't wait. I'm elated for Bolduc. I'm elated for certain players, but Will Scouching got me a little off that high there, out of my blue and orange glasses. But I still think he undervalues Bolduc. I still think he's a special player.
Okay.
But, today's going to be a call-in feature episode as well for those of you guys, because next Saturday we'll have Isles Girl 3 Kim on the podcast, so we will not have a call-in. So tonight we'll definitely make sure it is a call-in feature. Grumpy old man. But I want to ask, ideal scenario, we've signed back Adam Pelech to a long-term deal. We've got him through the prime of his career, and we were able to do that for less than $6 million a year. Ryan Pulock, you said $7 million a year. I want to ask you this. What happens if Ryan Pulock said, I want to wait until this offseason? I want to wait until midway through the year. I think I performed poorly offensively last year, and I think during a full season, I could finally get, the shot back on. I'm not going to miss the net as many times. I'm going to put up more points, so I think I can earn more. What if he wants to wait because he's betting on himself?
Well, that's a Lamoriello special, right? Let the guy play it out and leave if he has to. I'd move him. I mean, how many times do you have to be left at the altar waiting for free agents? Oh, yeah, no, I love this. I want to stay here. And no, we're going somewhere else. I'm not taking that chance. He's a valuable asset. A guy who's a top pairing defenseman is a valuable asset in the NHL. I mean, you might be able to move him for a first round pick and maybe a second. I mean, at some point in time, you got to restock the cupboard.
He is a valuable asset. That being said, so you would venture out there if he's not signed back or says he wants to sign back or has every intention on signing back, you would try to move him at the trade deadline.
Yes.
You see how counterproductive that is, though, to the team's mindset right now.
Okay, but if he's not amenable to, to signing an extension. I mean, where are we even going to be in the standings at that point in time? I mean, there's a lot of still moving pieces before then, but let's say we're a team that's fifth in the playoff hunt, fighting.
Let's say we're in the playoff picture, wherever it is, anywhere from 3 to 5, doesn't matter. We're in the playoff picture. We're making a push for the playoffs.
And he says that, yeah, I'm not signing here, or I'm going to wait. I'm going to go to unrestricted free agency. I move him. You want to get something back for him. I mean, I don't think he's like that, but in that scenario, I mean, it could be that he's like, you know what, I love it here. Yes, I want to get the deal done. Maybe they get a framework in place and they figure out the final numbers before free agency hits next year. That's different. But if he's somebody who's saying, you know what, I'm going to test the market, I think you have to move him.
What happens if he comes back to you and you say, I want to offer him $7 million? Let's say I want to put more towards 8. I really think, I'm going to put the game back on the track here this year. I'm going to put up points, and we all see that points get paid. I'm looking for, at least 7.5, closer to 8. I'm seeing what other defensemen are getting paid, and when I become an unrestricted free agent, it's the last year of the flat cap. So I'm looking to sign a deal that's got longevity there to it. And I think I should get paid because the cap's going to start increasing again. I'm seeing what guys are getting paid out there, and I think I should be justly compensated.
Well, if he's saying that he wants 7.5 or 8, I said, let's split the difference. Let's make this happen. Let's make it a long-term 8-year deal. Let's do it. Let's get it done. But if he says he wants 9, or I think he can get 9 or 9.5, like some of these other guys, there's no way he's going to sign a deal with us for $9.5 million. No. That's not going to happen. Then you run the risk, once again, of making him the highest paid player on your team. See, that's something you have to worry about too, right? At $7 million, he's still right there with Lee and Barzell, right? Do you want to give a defenseman more money than, your captain and the best player by far on your team? I don't think you want to do that. But hey, whenever somebody comes due, they want to break the bank. But I think they have I feel the Islanders have a hierarchy on how they pay guys.
And I'm just going to go out on a limb. If I'm Ryan Pelech and I'm a player, in my situation, let's say I want to go back to the Islanders. I'm telling them I do want to go back and play for you guys. That being said, I think I could produce more than I did on the offensive side of the puck this next season. I know last year was an outlier. I missed the net. I wasn't able to score goals, whatever it was, because that's not a normal thing for Ryan Pelech. That's a guy who on a full season is looking at close to probably maybe 35, 40 points every year.
Yeah, it's not a discrete event, him missing the net all the time. That's what he does. Okay, I don't think he's talented enough offensively to deserve what some of those other guys get. But you still give him quite a bit of a bump over the top of Adam Pelech. I'm just saying I would approach him now. I don't want to wait. I want to approach him now. And you know who else I approach now? Matt Barzell. He's another guy. I want to approach him. He's got one more year after this one, right? Let's not let him get to where there's going to be some acrimony. Let's pay him according to his talents.
I believe Matt Barzal, the way his contract, when it expires, he will want to wait as well.
Well, then you're going to run the risk, the same thing at John Tavares. And to me, if I was Matt Barzal, well, we've been down that road before, and we have quite a while to go before we really have to touch on it, right? He's got 2 more years left on his deal, so we don't have to touch that. I'm just saying I'd much rather be proactive as opposed to reactive. That's all I feel. Signing younger guys, I'd much rather get them locked up for as long as I can, as early as I can. I don't like to let them get to unrestricted free agency. I don't like that.
Grumpy, we're going to start hitting a few of the comments. We're going to open up here the phone lines, and going to start taking calls there from you guys. And again, Grump, I'm going to let you control when to cut people off because I don't do a superb job by your standpoint.
Okay.
You're going to break out the scissors, Grump, and chop, chop, chop when you want to.
I didn't bring the scissors, but I'm just going to let people know something. Please, just one comment, and then we comment on it. Because this way it gives everybody a chance. How many times do we hear people calling in all at the same time, but, we're still back and forth haggling. Just please one comment if you could. And, the Grumpies, groupies, they know what to do. They know how to handle those calls. It's mostly TJ's fans. They're the ones who can't control themselves.
Hey, you're live. You're live.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Oops. Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
D-Cut. What's up, boys?
D-Cut, how are you?
Oh, hold on. I want to stop 1 second. D-Cut is going to do a call exactly the way it's supposed to be done. I'm going to tell you right now because he's a professional.
Thank you, Grump. Miss you, buddy.
You too.
First thing, shout out to Al's Misery, Jay Rich, BP, all the boys. 3 quick things, and then I'll drop it. First thing, I'm very concerned about replacing Letty. 2 seasons ago, our lefties were Pelech, Toews, Taves, and Letty. Now our second best left defenseman is Andy Green. Chew on that for a second. Second, the sheep media, Gross, Compton, Arnold, some of these Facebook groups, bowing to Lou. The team is worse right now. Basically, we lost Eberle. We lost Nick Letty. Yeah, we got Lee coming back, but to me, the team is worse. I don't see anything getting better. Brent Thompson, I'm sure you guys discussed it in one of your prior shows. Kind of a joke is this, guys. 4th thing, and then I'll hang up and listen. In 2 weeks, I saw either on Twitter or Facebook the human Ambien is going to be on the show, Mr. Facts. At least I know for that day I don't got to take my Ambien pill. All right, boys. Have a great one. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, D-Cut. Let me tell you something, people. That's the way you do it. D-Cut, he hit us with 4 things, which is fine, but he was fast. I like it. As opposed, I'm going to start with the last one. Human Ambien. That's one of TJ's pals, Phil Facts, and I like Phil too. I'm not going to call him Human Ambien, but like I said, D-Cut is there to give people little nicknames, and I love it. Okay, sorry, Phil. That's a good one. Then we're talking about, is the team better from last season? It's not. Because until you replace Letty, and I wasn't the biggest Letty fan, but we have no replacement for him. We've had no upgrades offensively. So right now I don't see us as being better than last year. If you're just bringing the band back together minus Letty, I think that's a net loss, to be honest with you.
He also said, replacing Nick Letty is going to be something we need to focus on, right? Andy Green right now is our number 2 left-handed defenseman.
Yeah, 39 years old. Not good. Not good. He's still 5 years younger than Chara, though. So figure that.
Want to speak about the sheep media on one quick bit? I don't know. I guess I'm just not a fan of, conversations and topics that we're just hoarding the same exact information over and over again, where we just agree with everything that's out there. I think it's mentally obese, and you don't challenge and try to go ahead and expand on what your thoughts are. Not a fan there of it at all.
Here's the thing, though. I feel that the Islanders absolutely love to have an echo chamber. Whatever Lou says is great. Whatever anybody else, they're wrong. Let's ostracize them. And I certainly don't believe in that. I mean, we don't prescribe to that type of delivery. I'd much rather say, hey, what do I want to do? I want to win a Stanley Cup. And if your team's not good enough to win a Stanley Cup right now, I'm going to call you on it. It's just that plain and simple. Maybe a lot of fans are happy. Yes, we qualify for the playoffs. We're 4th team, or we're 8th out of 8. Maybe we can slither in, and then something happens in the playoffs. I'd much rather be contending for division titles. It means you're a better team overall all year long.
I will tell you really quick. I think we're closer to making the cup a cup run or a legitimate cup contender than you are. But we do have a caller. Who we have calling in right now?
Brandon Fry. How are you guys?
What's up,
Brandon? Hold on, Brandon. I want to apologize to you. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast or not, but I want to apologize. TJ said that I was very short with you the last time you called in, and if that's true, I want to apologize.
No. You don't have to apologize to me. I'm not a snowflake. You were just arguing your point, and that's what good sports debate is about.
See, here's the thing. I forget that TJ is a millennial, so sometimes I let what he says color my judgment, and I probably shouldn't do that. Go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry. Go.
No worries. So I'm actually in fair agreement with you on a lot of stuff. I really want to see Sebastian Aho get that open D pair spot, because the offense he provides, I think, would be really huge. He's a puck mover, and I think he deserves a shot at this point. He played very good when Doug Waite was the coach. Obviously, there was no defense at that point on that year, but I think he would do a good job. I really want to see them get Tarasenko, as I mentioned last time. But my main point that I wanted to ask you guys about is, if we did get Tarasenko, let's say we trade Josh Bailey, which I hear everybody saying, let's trade Josh Bailey over Beauvillier, which I agree with the age difference and the contract difference. But the problem I see happening is, if you have Palmieri move down to the second line with Beauvillier and Nelson, you have 3 shooters on one line, and those 3 they're not big playmakers. They're just shoot, and 2 of them are streaky as hell. So my question is, do you think that would work with 3 shooters like that?
Well, I appreciate the call here, Brandon. I'm going to let Grumpy get to it there. Grump, I'll let you go ahead and get that response going.
Yes. First, what was Brandon's first point? I'm sorry.
His first point was Aho deserves a shot.
Yes.
Aho is a guy out there who we'd like to see getting a legitimate chance on the ice, because during Doug Waite, he performed well. I want to also say something, too, that people forget. I know there are going to be people in the fans or the listeners here who will say, I remember watching Sebastian Aho during those Doug Waite time periods, the first year where he had that baptism via fire, and he didn't look great on the defensive side of the puck. Remember, he was drafted that year, came over from the Swedish Elite League, was overaged, and he came over, was playing on a smaller condensed ice surface. So that was all new for him as well, which is important, worth mentioning.
And I didn't think he looked poor the few games he played for us last year, honestly. Give him a chance. I mean, here's the thing. Why not run something where you're double shifting Pelech occasionally? Playing him, giving some, because I would play Aho with Mayfield. I just leave those two out there. I just think that has a potential to be a really good defense pairing, right? And then I don't think Andy Green's going to be able to handle big minutes as a second pair D-man, but maybe you could do something to flip-flop where Pelech rotates in with Dobson periodically to give Andy Green a little bit more rest. You might have to do some rotations on your defensive back end. But I'm not opposed to that either. But like I said, I always believe in giving the young guys a chance. Give them a chance to succeed as opposed to just feeling that they're going to fail.
And then also about the 3 shooters.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's an interesting point from Brandon, but I kind of like the look of that line, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be more offensive. I think here's the thing. They all hustle. That's the one thing Bailey. Yeah, all right, Bailey, you'll pass the puck. But Palmieri's not afraid to make a pass. Bavillier, it has been the driver of that line. And maybe Brock Nelson could step up and be a little bit more of a guy who dishes off to other players. I kind of like the look of that line, but it is a valid point that Brandon made about being 3 shooters. But wouldn't you rather have 3 shooters as opposed to 3, pass around Pete's?
Pass around Pete's or perimeter Pete's.
Perimeter Pete's, yeah, whatever.
Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
It's Mark A. How are you guys?
What's up, Mark? How are you?
Good, doing well. Great show as always. First of all, with the Pelech signing is obviously, a nice signing. In saying that, and it's a shout out to Fullock as well. When these guys want to go to arbitration, and I know the defensemen, if you have no offensive, stats or game, it's really based on arbitration is usually based on minutes, points, assists. You'll come up with some defensive stats. They don't have as much as a leg to stand on as you think. I wouldn't give Fullock $7 million a year. I want to see it offensively. I'm sick of paying these guys for what we think they are or might be, and it's instead of what they've done. And Fullock hasn't done it yet. So that's my stand on that. And I see no reason why you can't play an Aho or a Robin Salo and then make a deal for a defenseman during the year if those guys don't pan out.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the call, Mark. Thanks for calling in and listening as always. Grump, I'll let you take that here first.
Yeah, I understand Mark's point of view. The whole thing is, and do I think that Ryan Pulock is worth $7 million? No, but I don't think that Seth Jones is worth $9 million. And I don't think that Zach Werenski is worth $9 million. And I don't think that Darnell Nurse is worth $9.5 million. But that said, that's the going rate. All right. And he is, I guess, I don't know who he's our number 1 D-man, right? He does a lot of other things too. He's able to play on the penalty kill and the power play, right? Pelech should just play penalty kill. So he's going to get paid more. And if that's the going rate for top level defensemen, it's either you let him go or you pay the piper. Like I said, I'd offer him 7. I think that's way less than he's going to get on the open market, I feel, particularly if he has a good year next year. And, that's my whole thing. You're looking at guys getting 9.5. 7 looks like, a steal compared to 9.5. Go ahead, TJ. I'll let you comment now.
It does look like a steal compared to 9.5. The issue or the thought I have with Ryan Pulock is I think he's going to bet on himself. He knows what he can do. He only had 2 goals last year in the regular season. That's it. You take it all the way back to even when he got his first cup of coffee back in 15-16 where he played 15 games. He had 2 goals that year. Other than that, he's had more than 2 goals every single season. he's going to put up more goals. This is a guy when, if you're looking at an 82-game season, he's putting up at least 10 goals a year. And I know, he missed the net a lot more, I feel like, than he has in years past. He seemed to be snake bitten. I don't foresee that being a reoccurring trend. And you can also say this: if you add a sniper onto the first line like a Tarasenko, you're going to see points increase as well across the line, across those units for the defenseman. And having a guy like a Palmieri on a second line and having a Wallstrom there on a third line, you're talking about you have a lot more offensive firepower than we had in the years past. So you're going to see, I think it'd be reasonable to expect maybe assist increase. And I think this is a guy who's always good for 10 goals a year.
Right. But everything is, like, for me, everything is predicated on getting that first line sniper. I mean, to me, that is the key to the whole offseason. It's the key. If we get a Tarasenko and, Gaudreau, I mean, I can see that. But I'd much rather go with Tarasenko. You got 2 years locked in at 7.5 per. You don't have to worry about free agency. You can see how he fits in the system. Then you can maybe, if you want to do a contract extension with him, you have that option too. Where Gaudreau, I just think there's, like I said, too much. But you're right. Having a real offensive weapon with the, plus Matt Barzal out there, high tide lifts all boats, right? You would think we score more goals, there's going to be more points for Pulock and everybody else, particularly on the power play.
And again, remember that call number is in the top left-hand portion of the screen. We're going to start getting to some comments. Coach Tommy B tuning in saying, good evening, gents. Also, Brian J saying, what's going on, champ? And he said, this episode brought to you by Rogaine. Islander fans losing hair since 1991.
I didn't start. I don't know. I wasn't losing my hair in 1991. It wasn't until I had children. Then I started losing my hair.
And Alexander saying, hello to all my Islanders family in this chat. Hope you're doing great there. I hope you're doing well also, Alexander. Emmanuel R saying, if a Tarasenko trade doesn't happen, would you rather shift his focus to a left-handed defenseman or continue looking for another winger?
For me, the key is getting a top-line scorer. I mean, and here's the thing. If he wanted to get Tarasenko, he could get him right now if he wanted to. There's no doubt in my mind. He's probably holding out, hoping the price will drop. I mean, how much could St. Louis possibly be asking for Tarasenko? They're signing all these other replacement parts now for their front line, right? So you got to think they are going to move him. I just don't want to see us get beat out by some like a low-rent offer from somebody else because we didn't want to pay salary.
Oh, man, that'd be one of those that's like a swift kick to the nuts. Where you think, oh, wow, they're paying pennies on what this guy's value could be if healthy. And we were, a little bit more reserved in our offers just because we thought that we didn't want to have to take his entire cap hit. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, he fits underneath their cap right now. There's no urgent need to trade him, but he doesn't want to play there. I think as it gets closer to training camp, that's when we might see something happen, and then maybe we'll see the Fleury Islander moves. But, I mean, training camp's, 4 or 5 weeks away? I mean, it's not too far away.
Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hey, this is Lars from Jersey. What's going on, TJ? What's going on, Grump? Think you guys are great. Always throw you on Saturday night and watch the show. Here's my question. How much are we willing to spend on that left-handed defenseman?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? I mean, first of all, who do you want? I look some crazy name, Drew Dow. Doughty might be available. Could you imagine trading for him? What's he, $11.5 million a year? Everything now. Right now we have I think almost $12 million in cap space plus Johnny's $6 million on top of that. So roughly $18 million. And if we've signed, Palmieri, let's say it's 4 years. Now you hear Cizikas, maybe 2.5 to 3.5 a year. And then you're hearing, you've signed Zajac, even if he's vet minimum. Then you got Parise. Let's say he's $1 million a year. All these little things add up. How much money are you actually going to have to spend, right? And then it's like, are we going to improve our winger situation, or are we going to go all in for a left-handed defenseman? I mean, I don't think there's too many guys out there. Seattle has a lot of guys under contract. They almost have too many good defensemen for their team, honestly. Maybe they'd be willing to move one. I don't think it'll be the Dunn kid, but maybe somebody else.
I was going to say, why didn't they let Dunn go to arbitration? Why did they automatically give him the $4 million? He was making 1.8 last year. Let him go to arbitration. If it comes in somewhere around 3, I thought that was going to be the move. Give them a bellows, maybe a pick, some change, and then make that maneuver. But now that it's 4, it seems pricey. If you're going to replace Leddy at the same amount of his contract, somewhere at or near $5 million, I don't know that it makes sense. Here's an idea, though. Somebody who's over the cap right now, who needs cap relief, somebody who has a lot of young left-handed defensemen coming in. You're going to laugh because I know we always try to go back and save our guys. Blackhawks. We could try and get DeHaan. The cap hit's only around $4 million. He's 30 years old. The shoulder is back normal. It's an idea.
Well,
Don't get mad at me. It's an idea.
I appreciate the call, Lars. I'll let Grumpy respond to it. Thanks for the call, and thanks for always listening and tuning in on Saturdays. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the call. I've heard Calvin DeHaan also. Man, I hate Calvin DeHaan. He's just the epitome of he's like a Thomas Hickey. Same thing. Why not just use Thomas Hickey then, right? He's already under contract. They're the same player. And I heard that DeHaan's shoulder was hurt again last year.
Calvin DeHaan is not the same player as Thomas Hickey. Thomas Hickey injuries, past, whatever. Thomas Hickey was a much better player in his prime, if we even want to call it something like that, than Thomas Hickey ever was.
Would you rather have Thomas Hickey for $2 million? What is he, 2.5?
2.5.
Okay. Or the oft-injured Calvin DeHaan for 4. I mean, to me, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. I guess I'd rather roll out Hickey. Hickey's a veteran, right? I hate him, but he's a veteran. They know what to expect from him. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of Calvin DeHaan. I'm sorry.
Can you believe Calvin DeHaan is only 30 years old?
Yeah.
He's another guy who would feel like he's been around for forever. I know because he got, the first time he was up there in the NHL, he was 20. I guess the first time we saw him, and even like 22 was when he's playing consistent minutes. But he feels like he's been around for much longer than only be 30 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the case that we can't do any better than that. That's the instance where, Lou's saying, well, we have time, we're going to use it. Well, when everybody else isn't using that time and they're signing all the left-handed defensemen and there's nobody left, you're stuck with Calvin DeHaan. I'm
going to challenge you on this one. Let's take this, though, into account. The Islanders needed to take their time in order to get a deal done with Tarasenko. We wanted the price to be right. Whatever the reason is, we need to take our time with Tarasenko. Let's go ahead and use that as an idea. That being said, they were overpaying left-handed defensemen left and right this offseason. They were. Some guys signed back to their teams on hometown discounts. I'll use air quotes on. But a lot of defensemen and a lot of players were being wildly overpaid. Would you rather the Islanders have wildly overpaid for a left-handed defenseman, or maybe take a guy that is not an ideal candidate, doesn't make you, all fuzzy on the inside, but allowed you to increase your offensive firepower by bringing in and ensuring Tarasenko's on the team?
We could have signed Ryan Murray. He went for 1 year, $2 million, defensive defenseman with Colorado. I mean, tell me that didn't fit what we do. I would have loved that deal. I thought he was going to get more than that. That's a deal I could have got 100% behind. $2 million.
I like Ryan Murray. I know he always gets banged up, but when healthy, that's a guy who I like, especially as a guy who's going to be playing, as a top 4 minutes, a guy who's going to be, a fourth pairing defenseman. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's a type of move. Be a little proactive. Don't wait until you remember I said, gosh, he's still out there. Maybe that's a guy the Islanders have already signed. It just hasn't been announced yet. That's what I was hoping. But I
want to backtrack really quickly. Who did you hear from that said that the Islanders might be interested in Drew Doughty and his $11 million cap hit?
I don't remember. One of those fly-by-night sites. I look at everything.
Were you entertaining and reading the Islanders Inquirer? Was that what that was?
I don't know if they brought it up or not. Honestly, they throw so much garbage up against the wall, hoping to stick. Like I said, I find it entertaining. It's like reading the National Enquirer.
I wanted to show you, speaking about entertaining, they have an article here that's talking about, hey, now that Adam Pelech's contracted, we were able to find that out. This opens up the door for a Tarasenko trade. And I implore you to read it. He goes in depth about all these different situations that could happen with Tarasenko. And I just want you to read this last little paragraph here as to how he sums up the article. For the record, I don't think this scenario is likely. I think trading for a left-handed defenseman and keeping a few million in cap space for deadline deals is more of a Lamoriello thing to do, but the Tarasenko scenario is possible, and if I know that, Lou Lamoriello knows that. For the record, I don't think this scenario is likely. Why the hell are you writing about it if you don't think it's likely?
They do that all the time. That's what they do. They'll say something that might be critical, but then they apologize at the end. You know.
I do love when Pelech signed back. I happened to read the article on the Islanders Inquirer. I did, and I saw them at the very end of the article say Lou Lamoriello for General Manager of the Year for the third time in a row after re-signing back Adam Pelech. Given I thought it was a good deal, it was a good job negotiating that, but I'm sorry. Full stop. Let's relax a little bit. Maybe they ham it up like we ham up certain things. Maybe that's how they ham things up. Lamoriello for General Manager of the Year already. Let's go Islanders.
I believe he also said, I'll be the first one beating that drum or something like that, pushing that bandwagon. Like I said, they're shills for the Islanders, whatever. I mean, you know, that's their gig. That's fine. I'm not a shill for the Islanders. They don't pay my salary. So, you know, I don't, you know, I just speak the truth. But I don't have an agenda. That's the whole thing. We don't have agendas here. We just speak the truth. That's all.
But you got to watch out, Grumpy. The evil, bad words that come out of your mouth, the Islanders don't like it.
Anything that's critical.
Cartel media doesn't like it.
Yeah, I don't care about them.
Oh, goodness. Scott L. saying, finally getting some actual Islanders news with Pelech, his extension. You think Lou will make us wait another 2 weeks before they announce another signing?
I have to think that we're going to start getting some news. I think the next big thing is potentially a trade. He had to do the Pelech signing. Why? Because his arbitration was going to be on the 11th. So that's like next Wednesday. He was like the first arbitration guy. So it had to get done. I mean, that's the only reason, because if it wasn't for that, he probably wouldn't have announced anything yet.
I like this the thought process that both Phil's Facts and Tommy B presented me with this, because Lou Lamoriello was not announcing any signings. They were forcing his hand and wanted to make Adam Pelech the first arbitration hearing, so they would have to announce a deal in some capacity earlier, sooner rather than later. They couldn't continue to kick the can further on down the road. And I thought that was a very salient point.
So who said this?
It was Coach Tommy B and Phil's Facts.
And they said that the league
that's the reason why they think that he was the first person on the arbitration block. And there were like 50 some odd names that went to arbitration. It just happened to be that Adam Pelech was the first one on there.
Maybe because A starts for Adam. I mean, come on. All right. You know, hey, maybe. You know,
I can see them doing something like that. I really could. They don't like. Good.
That has as much credence as Tommy digging through the trash, looking for Islander free agency signings, or Phil, you know, being a prescription for sleeplessness,
being a physician, or being a oh God Almighty, being a pharmacist.
So we all believe that the league was in collusion against the Islanders. Okay.
Not in collusion against the Islanders, that they wanted Lou Lamoriello to announce something, so they pushed him, because he's the only team who hasn't announced anything so far. So they made sure that his arbitration was first, so they'd have to announce something.
So they were colluding against the Islanders.
No, they're not
so that they would have to release all this information, right? So there was some type of collusion within the league to say, okay, we're going to make Pelech's arbitration hearing first because Lou hasn't released his data. I don't believe that.
NHL.
If that's true, come on, that's kind of Mickey Mouse, right? Kind of Mickey Mouse.
Hey, I've seen crazier things. I'm willing to entertain the idea. Brian B said, "Hi guys, love the show. Thanks, there. I'm sorry, Bill. Bill B. I'm sorry,
Brian. I mean, there is an I in there, but there's no R. There's an A and an N. Maybe if you add up two L's and divide by I don't know what, it gives you a Brian, but it's not. It's Bill.
Sorry, Bill B. Sorry about that. He's saying, hi, guys. Love the show. Moving right on there. Alexander saying, had better days after watching this miserable Mets team. Oh, my God. This team is terrible.
Oh, well, sorry, Alexander. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Brian J. said, TJ, you shaved. Next is your hair. You're almost there. Oh, God. Oh, man.
I think, TJ, you look so much younger when you shave.
I know. I literally just shaved because it was getting growth. I got too much growth on my face. And I was just like, I'm just going to shave everything off. Coach Tommy B says, Lou does it again. Pelech deal, a steal. No signing bonus money at all. Straight salary base.
That's what you're supposed to do as a general manager. He gets no extra credit. It was a good deal. Without a doubt, though, good deal. Excellent deal. Excellent. Those are the type of deals I want him to do. I don't want him signing the guys in their 30s to long-term deals because those have been F minuses. But this one here is an A.
Paul D, I know, is being facetious. He's saying, horrible job by Sleeping Lou signing Pelech for an 8-year, $5.75 million a year contract.
Well, if he's not being facetious, I disagree with him on that.
Alexander also saying, oh, my God, TJ. Did you shave? That for certain I did. And he looks about 20 years younger. I know. Oh,
what's wrong with that? Let me tell you something. When you get older, you want to look younger.
Oh, goodness, grumpy old man. And then Scott L said, Brendan Burke is close to resigning with MSG Networks to remain with the Islanders. I did see that, and a lot of people were talking about it. I like Brendan Burke.
Yeah,
it was kind of odd to see that all over social media, like, oh, I am happy Brendan Burke's coming back. Well, but go ahead.
Do you want to know why that's getting run on social media and on Islanders pages? Because they don't do anything else. They put out Coco the service dog, roll him out there.
Tory.
Whatever. He's a dog. Like I said, I could bring a dog in right now if I wanted to and put him on the screen. I mean, that's what happens when there's no news to report. That's your big news article. That said, I like Brendan Burke. It's nice to see him come back. But I think, honestly, he could certainly do a job on either TNT or ESPN. I mean, I think he's very good. Very good.
I think he's extremely articulate. I like his points. And I've met him before in real life. Real nice guy. I like Brian. I like him. So, Brendan Burke.
I think he's great. Oh, sorry. Am I allowed to say that?
No, you're not.
Okay.
Grumpy. Remember your role. Know your role, Grump. Hey, it's a callback. Alexander said, I love the deal that Pelech signed. Don't we all? Love it, love it. Coach Tommy B said, get ready, grumpy old man. I will be bringing it.
Oh, my God. Unless he's bringing the trash from the Islanders' waste paper baskets, I don't know what he's possible of bringing, honestly.
And Brian J is saying TJ looks like Brendan Burke right now.
You do have that Brendan Burke hairstyle a little bit there.
He's got more hair than me. I wish I could.
You need a freaking tan, though. You look like an albino.
Brett W is saying Pelech Mania is running wild, brother.
Pelech Mania is running wild, brother. Yeah, tell you what, Adam Pelech has the Hulk's hairstyle too.
Adam Pelech, don't get me started on Adam Pelech's hair. I know I'm follically challenged, but man, oh man.
So is he. I mean, come on. I mean, so am I. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but he's way younger than I am.
Eric saying TJ got a clean shave. I appreciate it. And then Emmanuel R there says, what does Pelech get, or what does Pulak get next year?
I say 7. Remember, he's going to be unrestricted. So, you know, that's the risk you run. That's the risk. When you sign a guy getting right to unrestricted free agency, Lou Lamoriello, that was a screwed up signing, honestly. That's what you get. When you're proactive and you sign the Adam Pelechs before they have a shot to get unrestricted free agency, you can get them on a good deal for long term for less money. Why? They want the financial stability. It's the same thing I've been saying for years and years, TJ. Finally, Lou does what I said he should do, and everyone said, oh, it's great. When the grumpy old man says it, oh, no, it's stupid. Well, no. Let me tell you something. I'm way ahead of the curve. Way ahead. Way ahead.
How far ahead? If you're saying way ahead, how? I mean, I want to get something quantifiable. How?
Curve here, me here. Curve me. Curve me.
There it is.
With the curve, with me. That's a steal from Night and Day with Tom Cruise.
That's a good movie.
Cameron Diaz. The first half of that movie was really freaking good. I gotta say.
I enjoyed that movie. It's kind of a cute movie.
The first half was excellent. Second half, you know, like with most movies, kind of lose it at the end. But I enjoyed it. I thought it should have done better in the box office than it did.
Toby O'Connor there saying great signing for certain days. Alexander saying Grumpy giving props to Lou. He's dying. He's laughing.
He finally did something good. Like I said, you do something smart, I'm going to say good job. You do something poor, you're going to hear it. I'm not one of those Lou sycophants like Mr. Wednesday Night.
No, Coach Tommy B is not. He's not. No,
he's a Lou sycophant.
He's not. He's not a Lou sycophant.
That's exactly what he is.
He's not slurping on the Lou lemonade, the Lou Lamarillo lemonade. No, he's not doing that. He also says, Grumpy old man, get ready to give a lot of props to Lou as deals are rolled out. I could tell you, if we did anything and offered Travis Zajac a deal at all, I could say that was a bad decision, right? We could all agree on that. 36-year-old center. I couldn't imagine there being any market for him at all in the NHL. I'd be shocked if he had an offer from any other team out there. Maybe as injuries happen and piled up, if he still wanted to play, maybe they'd say, hey, come on a PTO. I could see something like that, but I'm not sure. Travis Zajac, man, that's going to piss me off, but it's not a huge deal.
Tommy Baffy is Sergeant Slurp Squad, okay? Because he's always yes, Lou. Whatever you say, Lou. I love you, Lou. I bow to Lou.
No, he does not.
Yes,
I tell you, he's a conspiracy corner, Grump. He's a conspiracy corner with Coach.
When it comes to Lou, he's not.
Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. And then Scott L saying at $5.75 million AAV for Pelech, Darnell Nurse robbed Edmonton blind with his $9.5 million AAV. But hey, Edmonton was dumb enough to accept those terms.
It takes two to tango. Now, is Nurse more talented than Adam Pelech? Yes, he is. Is Edmonton
like $4 million, like $3.75 million more valuable than Adam Pelech is, though?
Okay. Darnell Nurse is one of the most talented defensemen in the league. It's the fact that he plays for that ramshackle organization up there with all the talent they have. I mean, I don't know what the heck's going on in Edmonton, but I think if you put him in a different circumstance, he'd be a way better player than he is there. That's all I'll say. Now, $9.5 million's worth of good? No. Can you name one defenseman besides Victor Hedman who's worth that kind of money? I can't.
It's weird. As of like right now, today, I know people are going to make statements. Oh, Cole Makar is a guy who should be getting paid like that. Look at his age, especially if you can lock him up long term. People are going to say that's a good contract to have. If you asked me that 2 years ago, I'd say yes, Shea Weber deserves some type of money like that. Victor Hedman's the best, as I've told you before. I don't care who wins the Norris. I don't care if it's Adam Fox. I don't care if it's Joe Montanaz. I still believe Victor Hedman's the best defenseman out there in the league.
7.875 for Victor Hedman. And you know what? I'd be willing to take these guys to arbitration and say, are you better than Victor Hedman? Because that's what he's getting. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Victor Hedman, head and shoulders the best defenseman in the league. Not even close for second. I know he didn't win, Norris Trophy, but if they're looking who the best defenseman, no one's saying Darnell Nurse. That much I can tell you, or Seth Jones, or Zach Werenski. Nobody's saying that.
Certainly nobody's saying Seth Jones. And then Brett W. saying, I think Bellows and Koivu are restricted free agents. Think Lou is re-signing them. Yeah, they are restricted free agents here. I definitely think that Lou Lamoriello is signing them back, no doubt.
I agree. If he'll just sign them, even if it's to make sure that he continues to crush their careers until they get to unrestricted free agency and have to sign with somebody on a tryout deal.
Coach Tommy B saying, I agree. Pulak 6-year, $42 million extension there, $7 million a year roughly. Eli there saying, great signing. Finally, we're buying players in their prime, not while they're in their late 30s.
Hold on, Eli. You haven't seen the rest of our signings because they're all going to fit in that boat. The signing guys in their late 30s to long-term deals. That's the Islander credo.
You like that, don't you? I thought you were a big fan of that. You like the veteran leadership on this team.
Yeah, we got too much veteran leadership and not enough talent. How about give me some veteran talent?
I want to give Brandon Gaines here credit. He mentioned this way before I had posed the question, what if he doesn't want the $7 million a year? What if he wants more? So Brandon was on the ball there with that.
Like I said, if he says he wants 9 or not, I want to get paid like Seth Jones, I move him. Because that means you're never going to sign him. There's no way they're going to sign a defenseman that type of money. You move him. It might hurt, but you got to move him and try to recoup your losses. They should kind of know. Here's the thing. Like I said, if Lou is as smart as I am, which is questionable at best, of course, but if he was, he'd already be in touch with Pulak's camp saying, hey, we want to do this thing long term. Ballpark, what are you looking for? You know what I'm saying? Let's have contact. Let's not wait till the end of the year. Let's kind of get this ball moving now. Let's see if we can get you signed, you and Adam, get you guys linked up for the rest of your careers. That's what we want to do. What is it going to take? And if they throw a number like $9.5 million or $9 million out there, I'm saying, yeah, that doesn't work for us. And I'd look to move him.
But you see how counterproductive that is for the team and where it is currently. And this is where I think you and I are not seeing eye to eye. I think you want to obviously bring back Ryan Pulak, but let's say in some ridiculous scenario, he is way on the other side of the spectrum. He wants a lot more than we're willing to give him or part ways with. I think if you move him, even if at the trade deadline or if you move him for assets, as much as I'm a fan of items like that, your window with this team is finite. I think that jeopardizes the window that you have.
But here's the thing: you're gonna lose him for nothing at the end of the season. I'm not willing to take that chance. I'm moving him. I'm moving him. If we don't get a Tarasenko type on the first line, we're not winning a Stanley Cup anyway. It's not happening. So to me, you move him. Okay, let's start making our transition now then.
I will tell you, I don't think he's going to be wanting 8 or 8.5 or anything crazy like that. I think it's probably going to be close to 7. I think that's reasonable. I think he'll take a little bit more than what Pelech got.
Maybe they can get him for 6.5. I mean, you don't know. I mean, here's the thing. He does bring more than Adam Pelech.
Yes,
he does bring more to the table. I mean, I don't know how much dollar sense wise, but he certainly does. He's a guy who can play on the power play. You're never going to see Adam Pelech on a power play. It's like, you know what? Might as well just put another Josh Bailey out there on the power play. Adam Pelech probably scored just as many power play goals as Josh Bailey ever has.
Hey, he's got, I think, 2 power play goals in the last 200 some odd games. Maybe it's 3 in the last 200 plus games he's played.
Well, there you go. Better than Josh Bailey. What can I tell you?
Oh, goodness gracious. Alexander also saying, well, Edmonton also signed Zach Hyman there to that ridiculous deal also.
He's the type of player they need, though. I thought it was an overpay for him, but that's the type of player, a sandpaper player that they don't have enough of, honestly. I mean, that's going to hurt Toronto. I don't think Toronto has enough sandpaper type players either. Us, we're loaded with sandpaper, just got no skill.
Just no marble, right?
No marble, just sandpaper. Nothing to file down. Nothing.
So Eli's saying here, so far, what's the overall offseason grade after this signing?
Since we've only made one move and we've lost Letty and we've lost Eberle, I would say our grade right now is a C. C minus.
That is so you, Grumpy. As soon as you say C, as soon as I'm about to respond, you're like, actually, let me go ahead after I've made that statement. Let me just dock it down 1 grade. Minus. You like the minuses on your grading scale.
Okay. I'm looking at the additions and the subtractions. You've lost a top 4 defenseman. You've lost a top line wing. And you've just re-signed one of your defensemen. That's all you've done. So right now it's a net negative, right?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
So you're looking at it like this, though. I'm looking at just what I have to go off of right now. I'm looking at
That's what the question was. What's the overall offseason grade so far after this? That's all we've done so far.
So as the Islanders continue to make moves, they can only go up, is what you're telling me from your standpoint. So the C minus is the lowest they're going to get. Even if they re-sign everybody they have, C minus is the lowest you can give them this offseason. I thought they've had a pretty good offseason. I think we're bringing in Tarasenko too. And if that's the case, it's an A+ offseason. Reason being is we addressed the need for the sniper. I thought we did a great job in the draft. We were able to clear cap space and get draft capital and get rid of Nicoletti. I will say that is going to be a big point of emphasis. Who are we bringing in, or who's going to be our second left-handed defenseman?
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you were in elementary school, junior high school, what were your reading comprehension grades? Because I know
superb reading comprehension.
Well, I guess you've regressed, because the actual question was not, well, when we get this guy, if we get this guy, this. No, what's the grade so far with what we've actually done?
I take into account our draft, and I take into our account of getting rid of bad contracts like Andrew Ladd and other things. I take into account those items, which I don't think you're weighing enough. If I'm giving a grade as of right now, let's say we re-sign everybody back, and we're just looking at, we've just signed Adam Pelech to a good deal. I'm still right now, we're at B- with the ability to continue to move up, because I think that Vladimir Tarasenko it's for the Islanders to lose.
Okay. I just answered the question that's actually given to me. So, and to me, when you're trading away draft picks, that's a -2. That's never a plus.
All right, Donald W. there saying here, that was a key move for the Islanders, re-signing Pelech there. He's still young, only 26 years old.
100% agreement. 100%.
Absolutely. Tommy B saying Parise 1 year, about $7.5 million towards league minimum, league vet minimum, is not something a fan or an expert should complain about.
Not true, because if it precludes you from getting a Tarasenko or a high-end talent because you're signing a bunch of bottom line ham and eggers, all that money adds up. And if all those additions mean that you can't add the big piece of the puzzle that you actually need, that's why I'm complaining about it. To me, you might say, hey, if we don't get this guy, we're going to sign you, Zach Parise. But it shouldn't be, all right, I have to account Zach Parise's money, so I'm going to have to try to lowball St. Louis to make this deal happen. And since I've signed Zach Parise, well, now I can't get him on this deal, and the Rangers are going to be able to lowball us and bring him in because we're $1 million short against the cap. That's a problem that I have.
So you would rather the Islanders have prioritized moving a guy, like getting a trade and a guy like a Tarasenko before I need to re-sign back certain players. I need to worry about bringing back certain vets that are somewhat play a trivial role. Let's be honest. Zach Parise would play a trivial role. A guy like Travis Zajac plays a trivial role. Those guys are not needed necessarily. You'd rather have a Tarasenko. But again, I think they're going to be all toward league vet minimum. You and I do not agree. You and I do not agree on the Parise. I think Parise on a 1 year deal, 7.5, or like a 1 year deal league minimum. That's awesome. But here's the thing too, Tommy, right? We saw Elliot Friedman say that he was offered 3 different deals, a 1 year, 2 year, and a 3 year deal. He was offered 3 different deals on the table. Who in their right freaking mind would offer Zach Parise a 3 year deal? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if Zach Parise was offered a 3 year deal, he's going to get paid more than league vet minimum. Because if he was offered a 3 year deal, he's going to be making less than $1 million a year. If he's offered a 1 year deal, it would lead me to believe that, hey, you're going to sign a shorter time period. We're going to pay you more upfront per year because you're only going to sign for 1 year as opposed to paying you less for 3 years.
Right. I mean, you just hit the nail right on the head there. You really did. And I do have a visitor over here.
I can tell Grumpy just starts staring off in the distance. I'm like, I know Grump's tuned out.
No, I'm not, because I don't know if here's the thing. My son comes into town and he just drops the dog off. Yes, you're wonderful. We all love you. But I don't know if he's got to go to the bathroom. I don't know what he's got to do. I'm here by myself and I'm trying to chaperone this dog and doing a podcast at the same time. Yes, you're wonderful. Well,
why don't you tell your son to chain that dog up outside around the tree, Grumpy?
Oh, he's a cute.
I thought you're not supposed to like dogs. You're the one who hates Tori, the dog.
First of all, I don't hate Coco the dog. I don't hate him. I just, it's like, I'm not saying that the Islanders should put my puppy on the podcast either, but he is very cute, though he is.
Okay, Grump. We're going to get back to the podcast, and we're gonna get back in. Nick C there said, TJ, your mic sounds great. Love the podcast. But how about getting Grumpy a good live mic or good live mic? Keep up the great work, guys. Thanks there, Nick. I try to help Grumpy. I try to get him headphones. I try to get him items to where he could increase the production value on his side. But the headphones make me sweat. I don't like this. I don't like that.
What do the headphones have to do with the microphone? Maybe the microphone was too far away. I will say I moved it a little bit closer now. Maybe it's just too far away.
Okay. Anyway, moving right along there. Emmanuel R said, after Barzal, who's your next untouchable?
Sorokin, maybe. I mean, to me, it's got to be him. Dobson.
I think
there's certainly nobody else in the forward group. Maybe Wallstrom. That's it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I was about to say maybe Sorokin probably be my next, and then Dobson, and then Wallstrom thereafter. But those are just guys based off we're projecting what their futures might be. I think Sorokin probably will be slotted in to be one of those stone walls back there in net for years to come.
Yes.
Alexander talk about the drinking game. Yes, that should be a drinking game. Anytime I say there. Alexander said shot. Brian J. there saying shot for shot. And then Jeremiah B. saying the real drinking game is when TJ says moving right along while reading comments. Moving along.
Yeah, that's true. But there is more offensive, I think. But here's the thing, you're doing pretty good today because you've not been thinking about it. So, I mean, I have.
I've been very cognizant. I've been trying to avoid saying it. It's my crutch word. What can I say?
I only have you at 4 so far. Inappropriate theirs.
Inappropriate use, inappropriate violation, the use of the word there, 15
violation, yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. Robin Stewart said, we aren't going all the way until we bring a couple young guys from our prospect pool and develop or showcase them.
And that's not something we seem willing to do. But here's the thing, when you're not drafting and you're not drafting any high-end prospects because you keep on trading away first-round picks for guys in their 30s, I don't know where you expect to go. I mean, our pipeline is devoid of talent offensively. Devoid. None. We don't have any.
Matthew C. there saying that that's always the need there, talking about an elite winger. They tried with Panarin. Ugh.
At some point in time, we're going to have to be able to close a deal. If you want to be a top team, you have to be able to close a deal every once in a while. And re-signing your own guys is not closing the deal.
You can have all the great meetings in the world. You can have all these great discussions. I mean, let's even tilt the clock all the way back to the Kovalchuk time period where they said, oh, the Islanders are hot on Ilya Kovalchuk. They're offering this type of deal. They're offering this. They're offering that.
He was 37.
And I'm talking beforehand. I'm talking before he signed that ridiculous, ludicrous deal with the Devils beforehand. I'm talking about that we were in on Kovalchuk at that time period. Do you not remember that?
The next time that a big name free agent signs for the Islanders will be the first time. And I'm going to say it again. Anyone who's an offensive player, why would they come to this organization?
To win a cup.
We're not favorites to win a cup. There's a lot of other teams that are better than us, that have a better chance of winning a Stanley Cup. Why would they sign here? If they could, why would you, if you had a chance and you were a guy who put points on, would you sign for us or Colorado or us or Tampa?
If I had to choose and I was at the end of my career like a Corey Perry, I'd choose Tampa every day of the week, especially if I'm trying to win a cup. I would try to say who's the best team out there in the league, bar none. The best franchise that's out there right now is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I joined Tampa. It wouldn't be close, but it's not always the case. It's not always so cut and dry.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. If you're a really old player, I could see why you want to come to the Islanders. You could maybe extend your career 5 or 6 years. Where everywhere else, you get maybe a year left, 6 months.
Mr. Janspan there said, talking about Lamoriello, he's won General Manager of the Year 2 years now, grumpy old man.
Yeah, it's amazing what money will do when you pass enough around in the front office.
So, hold on. What are you trying to
insinuate? League executives.
Are you trying to tell me that Lou Lamoriello is paying off league executives to get a silly little General Manager of the Year award? Is that what you think's going on? He treats them out to a special dinner and lunch. He says, hey, I could really use your vote for General Manager of the Year.
Hey, it's just as valid a point as your pal Tommy Baffy and Phil Fax saying that the league is in cahoots against the Islanders to put where they placed Adam Pelech's arbitration hearing. Same thing.
Oh.
Why not? Right? Hey, if you're going to go. If you're in for $1, I'm in for 100. There you go.
George Pace saying
he definitely says that.
He's saying, "Hey, Josh Bailey, we want to know, will you get us Tarasenko?"
Yeah. See, I love that.
How do you pronounce Tarasenko's name again, Grump?
Tarasenko.
Look at that. Did you have to slow that down? I see. You had
No,
to
I
slow
didn't today. I do have to be cognizant of it since you absolutely destroyed his name for years and years.
It was one freaking time, once, and that stuck with
No,
you.
you're
It was
you're
ingrained in your
You're
memory.
wrong. And the TJ variable variant. I'm sorry, the TJ variant has infected me how to mispronounce his name.
Oh gosh. Robin S there saying here, nobody has taken Tarasenko. I would like to see the medical report. If I saw it, I wouldn't know what the hell to look at. But I'd like to hopefully think the Islanders have seen, the medical report and what the scope has looked like once they repaired up his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the one thing the Islanders will look at, right? I mean, I have to think that they're in on him. If they weren't, if he wasn't looking to make a move, he would already have announced these horrible re-signings that are just getting ready to come.
Okay, why are you so pessimistic about the re-signings already? You're preemptively pessimistic without even knowing what they've been signed to or what type of years.
All those guys are 30 years older, right?
Not everybody.
Who's not? Who's not? Of the group of ham and egger hacks that he's already showed the Zajacs, Sezikis, Palmieri, Parise. They're all on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
long-term deal.
Michael Doug Cole's under 30. You got Kiefer Bellows and Otto Koivula, both restricted free agents under 30, and Anthony Beauvillier's under 30. He's a restricted free, and so is Ilya Sorokin. So it's going to be interesting to see what those restricted free agents sign for.
Well, we haven't heard anything about the restricted free agents. Only the unrestricted free agents, the ham and eggers that we have affiliated with this team that we're re-signing. The ones that could go anywhere they want.
Scott L there saying, no, Grumpy isn't digging through trash cans. He's getting calls from Lou on the landline instead to get his inside information.
That's true. That's very true. Scott knows.
Rusty,
I'm not like Ludo Belutarski with the little, the little pen light in his thing. Ha ha!
Jesus. Rusty Spooner there saying, hey fam, hey Grumpy and TJ, I hope we get real Tarasenko or Vladimir Tarasenko, no beat up shoulders and such. I hope we deserve this 100%. Let's go Islanders.
I agree. We deserve it. The Islander fans deserve it 100%, without a doubt. We need to have a team that is trying to win. Let's go the extra mile trying to win. Let's not do the little dog paddle, the Louis dog paddle. Just treading water. Just bring the same old group back. Give me an Olympic swimmer. Somebody get me to the other end of the pool. Not somebody just stuck in the middle.
Please, somebody clip that and tag me in it on Twitter. Oh my God, Grump, I love it. I love it when you're. Very animated. Brings a laugh to me. And then Robin Stewart there said, Seattle needs established scoring forwards, and they have an abundance of D-men. A trade, perhaps.
Okay. Do we have any established scoring forwards on this team? Do we have any established scoring forwards on this team that we're willing to move?
Josh Bailey has led the New York Islanders there in back-to-back postseasons in points. So I'm saying that he might be a very valuable piece.
Except he doesn't score. He's the king of the secondary, says he doesn't actually put the puck in the net. Never even put in 20 his whole career. Played 800, 900 games, never scored more than 18 goals in a season. Sorry. That's I don't consider that an established scoring forward. I just don't.
Moving right along here. Jim P there said, I'd break up Pelech and Pulock to spread out the defense better. Pelech and Dobson, Aho / Green and Pulock, and Chara and Mayfield. And then Robin Stewart saying no to Chara.
Yeah, Chara doesn't fit. Chara doesn't fit that. Here's the thing. Barry's a creature of habit. He's going to roll out Pelech and Pulock as much as possible. He's going to have to give Dobson more minutes. And he does like Mayfield.
Something that's also worth mentioning really quickly to cut you off. If you had Chara, let's say in this world they bring Chara in to play minutes, you'd have to have an elite skater, somebody who was very, very fleet of foot out there on the ice with Zdeno Chara.
Well, to me, it had to be Chara and Dobson then, right? But Chara can't play those type of minutes. They have to lean on. They're not going to be able to shelter Dobson. We've been with the team 2 years. I mean, how long can you shelter a guy?
He's played 100 games if you look and include playoff games. He's played 100 games in his career. You can't shelter him. He should be ready to take the load of the top 4 minutes. He should.
I hate to give too much credit to the Islander Inquirer, but they did happen to mention how, if they bring in Aho and play him with, Dobson, who's basically still a rookie. I'm like, dude, he's not a rookie anymore. He's been with the team for 2 years.
I did get a chuckle out of that too. The guy's played 100 games. He's essentially still a rookie.
Maybe they don't know what the term means.
Oh, goodness.
He's not eligible for Rookie of the Year. He wasn't even last year.
He's essentially a rookie, though. Brian J. saying rather have a Bulldog or Robin Salo in that spot.
Salo is going to need a little bit of adjustment time. And Bulldog, I don't know if he's really ready yet.
Yeah.
Honestly, it shouldn't be either one of those. It should be Aho. Aho deserves it, too.
Rich A said, Trotz was signing Parise singing
praises.
Singing praises. Holy shit. You know that Trotz was singing praises about as much as he can about Bolduc after last training camp, right?
Yeah, he did the same thing with Devon Taves and then sent him down to the minors. And only a hickey injury brought him back up when he was the best defenseman in camp that year. That doesn't mean he's going to play him. And that's the problem. That's the problem with Barry Trotz.
Matthew C. They're saying need that score, though. We cannot get away from that.
Yeah, it's like, in The Godfather, when Michael says, killing Pop, that's it for him. That's when Saluzzo wanted to kill Don Corleone, and he missed his chance. He's like, we gotta whack that Saluzzo out of there because killing Pop is the end game for him. We need to get the score. I 100% agree with you, Matthew. Don't lose sight of that.
Rusty S. there said, I, for the love of God, want us to be a power play threat. Also, not just a power play killer. Please give us Wahlstrom. Barry kills me.
Can you imagine Tarasenko on the first power play unit with Barzell? And maybe you throw Wahlstrom on the other side. How about that? Instead of perimeter Pete out there. Actually, one of them is gone. I always used to hate when, Letty and Bailey would be out there just blah, 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 back and forth. The defense corps sleeping, leaning on their sticks. Well, we don't have to worry about these two clowns shooting the puck. You don't realize how easy it makes. You got some shooters out there, man, it's ready to go. And even that Lummox Lee in front of the net would benefit.
Robin S. there saying, play the kids early this season, see what we have. If the team performs, then we trade for a run.
Hasn't that been what I've been preaching that for how many years now? You develop, you let your young players play at the beginning, you let them develop. This way if they can handle the workload by the end of the year. And if they can, you're off and running. You're cooking with gas. You phase out the old geezers instead of keep on re-signing them. If they're not good enough, you cut bait. And then you don't have enough and you have to make replacements. That's what a good organization would do.
1 in a million said, play Hickey.
That's a 1 in a million comment right there, play Hickey.
Coach Tommy B said, grumpy old man, are you fine with rolling Green, Chara, Aho in the 3 spots to keep them fresh till the trade deadline?
I'm happy enough. Ugh. Man, I just don't think Chara's got anything left. I just don't think he's got anything left. I'd like to play Aho. Green is going to be there. I really wish we would have gotten Murray. That's the guy I was really hoping for at the end after all the other guys were gone. He would have been the one that I wanted. I just don't think, like I said, I don't think Chara's got anything left. I don't think Green has much left. People forget early in the season, Noah Dobson was really covering for Andy Green because he obviously lost his step. And then when Dobson went down with COVID, I think that kind of the whole thing was just crazy after that. I just don't know what Andy Green's got left, and I know Chara has nothing left. Aho, I'm willing to roll the dice on.
I also want to tell you this. If we're talking about rolling the defenseman, I just don't believe we would ever do like a true roll to where it would be a rotation, let's say where we split 60-60-60. If we were going to do a rolling rotation between a Chara, an Andy Green, and a Sebastian Aho, it would look something like this. 90% of the games Chara would play in, 90% of the games Andy Green would play in, and 20% of the games Sebastian Aho would play in, despite the performance. No matter what performance would look like, Sebastian Aho would probably be playing 20% of those games, and the veterans there of Chara and Green would be playing the lion's share.
If Lou gives Barry an option to play an older guy, that's what he's going to do at the expense of a younger player. That's just what he's going to do. The only way to stop that is to take away his options and make him play the younger players. Say, guess what, Barry? I'm the GM. I build the team. You coach the team. I don't care that you want another guy. Here's the thing. I guess we just bypassed the 30s. Let's go right into the guys who are in their mid-40s now. Those are the guys we should bring in next.
Okay. Grump, is that exactly what you would tell Barry Trotz when you walked in? Let's say he walks in your office. He says, I want Zdeno Chara. He's this, he's that. I really want Zdeno Chara. Is that what you say? I'm the general manager. I run the team. You just coach him. Get the hell out of here. Is that something you tell him?
I wouldn't say get the hell out of here. I say, I put the team together. You coach it, Barry. Okay? That's what I would say. You know what? I know you're like a little armadillo. You like to roll up in a little ball on the side of the road. But guess what? I pick the players. You coach the players. I'm not going to give you Zdeno Chara. I'm not bringing back Scott Stevens and Scott Niedermayer. I'm not bringing back Bobby Orr or Eddie Shore. No. It's going to be the young guys that you're going to learn to play them. You're going to learn to play them, Barry.
It's like you're reading off a children's book. It happened to rhyme there. I thought that was well thought. I thought that was well done.
Everything I do is ad-libbed. No written material for me.
I know you don't. I was about to say, I hope you wouldn't. William C. said, to me, Pelech's contract means that the dominoes will start to fall at some point this upcoming week with contracts. I pray we're still in on Vladdy, though.
Right. Doesn't the next step have to be the trade? If there's going to be a trade for Tarasenko, doesn't that have to logically be the next step? I mean, and the only reason that Pelech, everyone said, oh no, Pelech was the first domino to drop. No, it wasn't. They were forced into it by the arbitration hearing. If they had an arbitration hearing that was at the end of the month, he wouldn't have announced anything yet. I mean, but what does that say? They were close enough where they're able to hammer out the deal, right? So it probably wasn't going to go to arbitration anyway. But that said, I don't know if it's going to be this week, but certainly in the next 2 weeks, you want to see them do something. I mean, has to happen, right?
One of the million said we need to give up on Aho. He's been an AHL All-Star for 3 years, and they've never given him a chance.
That's because we never give a young player a chance, ever. If there's an option to play an older guy, we will. Oliver Wahlstrom was vastly superior to Travis Zajac, vastly superior to Leo Komarov. As soon as he got injured in the playoffs for a little bit, he was healthy to come back. You think he'd put him back in the lineup when we couldn't put any pucks in the net against Tampa? No way. We're going to ride the geezer train to Loserville, and that's exactly what you get.
I will tell you this, Sebastian Aho.
Not Loserville, to Elimination Alley. That's where we wrote it to.
I was about to say, Crump, when you say things like Loserville, we were the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7.
So we were just like all the other teams. We didn't win a cup. There's only one team that wins a cup. So we were like the other 30 teams in the league. Losers.
Oh, goodness.
You're not first, you're worst.
I will tell you, Sebastian Aho is no spring chicken, though. The guy's 25 years old. So, I mean, he'll be 26 midway through this year by February this year. So, towards midway through the season, he's going to be 26 years old. So he's no spring chicken.
Give him a shot. What's wrong with playing a younger player and letting him learn? I know they don't want them to learn on the job, but please.
Brian J. saying, might as well bring back Radek Martinek and Andy Sutton.
Oh, God. Those are some blasts from the past. Who's the other? Andy McDonald. Gosh, remember him? Ugh. Another wasteoid.
Mrs. Bailey chiming in here, grumpy old man. This is Josh Bailey's mother. If those of you who are new there to the podcast, Josh Bailey's mother here likes to comment in on the podcast every once in a while and says, my son Joshy Poo is an elite winger. He cries himself to sleep at night sometimes the way you, grumpy old man, and other Rounders fans continuously bully him.
Well, all I have to say to you, Mrs. Bailey, with all respect, maybe if you would have raised your son right, have him a little bit of a thicker skin, he wouldn't be crying himself to sleep at night at 31 years old. All right? It tells me you didn't do your job as a mother, honestly. Get him ready for the world, the real world, not lollipop land, candy land. I bet he still plays candy land with you when he comes over to visit on Sunday afternoons when you cook him his little dinner at 5 o'clock at night.
Okay, here's the question. Does she make him frozen meals like TV dinners? What type of meals do you think she's making on
No,
Sunday?
it's a home cooked meal.
Oh, it's a home cook. Hey, man, I could go for some home cooked meals, some nice mashed potatoes. Oh, and a nice steak on a Sunday evening. Oh, that's that. Hey, Josh. Hey, Josh Bailey. Send me an invite there, Miss Bailey. I'm all down. I'd like some mashed potatoes there. Maybe some home cooked meals on Sundays. I'm down. Jim P said, give Ziggy Palffy a call.
Why not? He's probably got more. Sir, I know he could score more goals than Josh Bailey.
How about Michael Pekka?
Yeah, Michael Pekka was good for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. You don't need a whole team of Michael Pekkas, right? You don't need a whole team of Michael Pekkas. He was a nice fit with that group. You don't need a whole team of guys like that, though.
Michael M saying, what's up, boys? What's up, Mike? And then Tommy B saying that Palffy trade, Lord, I hated that move.
Salary cap move, right? Not even salary cap. Just didn't want to pay anybody. At least, I'm going to tell you one thing. At least this ownership group will spend money. Erroneously with Lou in charge, of course, but at least they're willing to spend it.
I hate when you throw little caveats in there erroneously. I don't think it's by error they're going to spend money.
Like I said,
I think I'm going to be optimistic when I saw the deal that Pelech signed, and I hear rumors, Elliot Freeman saying, "Hey, 6 years," which I hate for Casey, but $2.5 million, that's much more manageable. He's taking a pay cut, hometown discount. I think we are seeing a trend that we're going to see players taking less money than we anticipate.
Anders Lee didn't take less money here. He got overpaid. And just wait. Oh, Anders Lee's great. He's why we would have won the cup if Anders Lee was there. No, not happening. And here's the thing. Just wait. Just wait. The time is upon us, my friend, when you're going to see Anders Lee turn into Andrew Ladd 2.0.
The time of reckoning is upon us, right?
Not yet. It's close, though.
No, he's far away. He's far away.
Yeah, okay.
Anders Lee's a better player than Andrew Ladd was during his prime.
No, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. Anders Lee brought way more to the table than Anders Lee ever did.
No, you just said
Andrew Ladd was a really good. What?
You said Anders Lee twice. You said Anders Lee brought more to the table than Anders Lee.
They're the same guy. But here's the thing. Andrew Ladd was a really, really good player in his prime. People overlook how good he was. He was really good. He was shot when he came to us. And that was, like I said, the knee-jerk reaction to losing Okposo and Nielsen. And Snow said, well, geez, I got to get somebody. Who's the biggest name on the board? Let's overpay him. I remember saying that. I'm like, I cannot believe they signed this guy because he's toast.
I will tell you, Andrew Ladd's never had a 40-goal season. Never even had a 30-goal season, for that matter, as well.
Yeah, he's never won any cups either. Andrew Ladd sure has. But, I'm just saying.
Hey, he played for that Chicago team back when they were
he played for the Carolina team too, right?
Yeah, Carolina team back in 05, 06.
Yeah, he was real instrumental to them winning back then. He was a good player in his day. He really was. Blood and guts player, without a doubt.
Rusty Spooner said Chara started with us, give him $650K. I think it's $750K there is minimum, whatever the minimum is, to play him in special situations. I'm still pissed. We let him go. Let him and Luongo go. The new era. Let's go Islanders.
Yeah, those were two separate deals. The Luongo deal was the worst deal in Islander history. The worst deal in Islanders history, because you got nothing back for him and Olli Jokinen. But at least you got Yashin back, who did perform well for the Islanders for a couple of years. But Mark Parrish and Ole Kavasha, that was the worst deal ever.
And I'm sorry, I lost some comments, so I do apologize.
What a shock!
We've got so many.
Probably comments are very complimentary of the grumpy old man. I'm going to bet those are the ones you seem to lose every single time. We lost those.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just like, we are, our
All I know
podcast is segmented like this. The first hour is you and I speaking. Then we have like the interaction there, and we're reading their comments and responding there to it. So there's a chunk of those that we miss.
All I have to say, all your little friends, your little buddies seem to get their comments read on there. I read everybody important. Your little buddies, hey, I'm TJ's pal. Make sure you put me on the comments. Oh, I like Grumpy. Oh, we lost that one. Click.
Yeah, we just got rid of him there, Jeremiah there. I don't know. For whatever reason, people will go into the YouTube comment, Grumpy, and I don't know if you're aware, and they will post obscene things where it's just be like some bot, and they'll post profanity and racially insensitive words you're not supposed to say on and they'll post a whole bunch of those, and it just didn't happen the last few times there for us. Have no idea why, but moving right along. The little saying. David D there says Lewis sleeping behind the wheel. Every other team is proactive in signing players, and we're sitting put, only concentrating on our players. I don't know if we could say that though.
Well, see, he put the little caveat, only concentrating on our own players. And we haven't made any additions from outside. We have not. We've lost a couple of players from our team, our semifinalist team, and we haven't added anyone at this point in time. I do feel that we've been active signing players, but they're just our own guys. And if you really want to improve an older team like we are, unless you have younger players ready to step up, you have to go outside of the organization to get better. And we have not done that yet. And that's a concern for me.
I think we are concentrating on other players. I think we are in the moves or in the makes to make another move. I don't think we're just going to re-sign it, because I've said this and I'll say it again. If we just re-sign everybody we had here, and when we said that was the end of the offseason, it was not as successful as it needed to be. I'm still very, very, very confident the Islanders are bringing in Vladimir Tarasenko. I'll put it to you like this. If the Islanders don't bring in a Vladimir Tarasenko, they don't bring in a Johnny Gaudreau, they don't bring in an elite winger, I'll be stunned, and I think there's legitimate cause there for anger amongst the fan base. I would be legitimately angry if that's the case. This is a time period we talk about finite window. We need to do everything we can to win a cup during this next 2-3 year time period. I believe that. That's why I don't believe even if Pulak's not going to sign back, you let him go, because again, window is finite.
Yes, I'm 100% in agreement with that. 100%. I don't know if here's the thing. I think you will see fans that are upset and angry about that. But for me, for us to have a successful offseason, we have to get Tarasenko. I mean, to me, it's all or nothing for him. Just is.
Gotcha. Moving right along here. Michael T there said, I'm with Rusty here. Let's go Islanders. Lou Barry will get the most out of whatever guys are on the ice. We'll be making the playoffs, and we'll go from there 100%.
Oh, I have visitors.
I know you've got all that going on. Captain distraction over there, Grump.
Well, you know what? Hey, here's the thing. I'm popular. People like to come visit me. Okay, what can I tell you? I know that's not the case with you. You sit in that little cave over there, and nobody says anything to you. Your wife won't even talk to you. It's not my fault that people like me. And don't try to put me down.
Don't make me get Paige on here to put you in your place, Grump. She'll put you right in your place. She'll just bring up a new word that you're not aware of, and she'll put you right down in your spot.
Just get to more comments without saying the word there. Why don't
Did you even listen to what I said? You listened?
No.
Jesus Christ. I want you to, hey, Grumpy, let's go. Come on.
Next
Michael said, you're ridiculous. You're absolutely absurd. Mrs. Bailey, they're also saying, I, Mrs. Bailey, mother of my perfect little elite Joshy Poo, hereby declare the Eyes on Isles guy 1,000 times better than Grumpy TJ podcast because they don't trash talk my Joshy Poo. Well, that would sound like a statement that
is a statement that Mrs. Bailey would make. It's not my fault that her son sucks. That's something that she's going to have to live with, and that she didn't train him up nice as a younger person. Where he's got some toughness to him. I'm sorry.
JPB there says no Beauvillier trade, please.
I 100% agree. Do not want to move him.
Okay. I love it. Freedom Fun Adventure said, just tuning in. How many times have they said Tarasenko? Grumpy age is like Grumpy, ages like vinegar, Taves, general manager of the year, shirts, etc. Oh no, we haven't mentioned his shirts yet. Thank God. That's usually good when I can skirt that.
And
General manager of the year a few times. Nothing on Devon Taves. Nothing ages like vinegar. And I say grumpy all the time. It's baby steps, right? I'm trying to get there out of the crutch word. So maybe
Right.
then we can go ahead and work on grumpy.
and the vinegar thing is something that I say, but I have not said it today. Devon Taves, I did bring up GM of the year. The caller brought that up. The shirts, well, that's on TJ.
Oh, goodness gracious. Moving right along there, Michael P. also saying, we're getting Johnny Gaudreau.
Michael T, I can always count on him. We're probably getting Connor McDavid too, right, Michael?
Oh, goodness gracious there. And David D also says there, Lou wants everybody to think he's up to a big trade. False and fake news.
I'm just going to say that was my prediction at the beginning of the offseason. We weren't going to do anything. I hope I'm wrong. I'm praying that I'm wrong, but it would not surprise me if I was right.
He's up to something. There's no way in hell he's sitting out there just saying, I'm not going to reveal it just doesn't make sense. Why would he not reveal all the contracts he's extended?
I don't know. He's had no problem signing an assistant coach from New Jersey and putting him down there in Bridgeport to replace Brent Thompson after this year, so he can have his son Fredo Lamarillo run that organization and have his own type of people in there. I understand.
I will tell you here, we got another comment also chiming in there. Oh, give me 1 second here. George P. there saying, when does preseason start? I know first preseason games are like Saturday 20th, like 25th, I think, off the top of my head. I'm thinking usually preseason starts about a week or so before. At least maybe a week to 10 games. Okay, a week to 10 days. It's something like that, maybe a week and a half. So, I mean, preseason, you're looking at mid-September. So like September 10th, maybe. I'm completely throwing that out there. I hope I'm close.
So we're close to like maybe a month and a little bit of change from preseason starting, right? Think about it. So we have a bunch of moves we got to make for them.
Michael T. there saying the NHL definitely has an anti-Islanders bias ever since the dynasty.
Yeah, no. You realize the dynasty was like, what? How many years ago was that now? 45 years ago? 40 some years ago? I don't even know. 15, 35 years ago. That's a long time to have a bias.
I think that I agree with Tommy on this one. I think the NHL is unhappy that the Islanders don't bring any money in, and that's the reason why.
It's Michael T. who made the comment.
No. Tommy B's brought this up plenty of times before. I think that Michael T's point has some validity behind it. I'm just saying, Tommy B's mentioned it before. They don't bring a lot of money in. The Islanders usually have been a net negative over the last handful of years, and the league's not happy about it. He's always believed that's the reason the Islanders don't get the calls. Whether you want to discern that information or not the way you do, I think, as we've seen before on this show, other shows as well, green is the only color any of these people see. So if we're losing the league money, I could see them being unfavorable towards us.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what, Lou is so highly regarded in NHL circles. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Michael T, what you got going on there? Some shaking and moving, Grump.
The dog was running by and his tail hit my table, and he's a powerful dog. What can I tell you?
Michael T said, TJ with his shave face. Now we have Babyface and Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, that's right. And remember, I'm pretty damn powerful over here, Michael.
Jeremiah B also saying, what's the name? What name do we like for Lou the best? Sleeping Lou, Shampoo Lou, Landline Lou, Linguini Lou, Lou Merta, Lazy Lou, Godfather Lou. What's the best nickname for Lou? That's a good one, right? I feel like he's got a lot of nicknames.
I like Shampoo Lou just because, it's wash, rinse, repeat. And that's what he does. I kind of like that one, probably because I came up with it. But I like Lou Merta's actually pretty good.
I like Godfather Lou.
Okay.
We could say everything's being kept right now in the down low in the secret. When's the last time we could ever say that an NHL general manager has been so secretive and has been able to keep things under wraps as well as he has? I'll tell you, problems you might have with Lou plays, wants old guys on the team, which he does, issues that he's got. He keeps everything very secretive. He really does.
True, he does. I mean, but like I said, as far as the nickname thing, the fact that Lou Lamoriello has all these nickname options speaks to the power that he carries, I guess.
Oh, man. Frank Hales is saying, love the money deal, but I would have went 4 to 5 years on Pelech.
Yeah, see, but if you go 4 to 5, you're not going to get that AAV. That's the whole thing. You're going to have to pay more if you're going to go 4 to 5. Because remember, he was 1 year to unrestricted free agency. Just could have went to arbitration and then left as an unrestricted free agent.
Grumpy Alexander wanted me to show you here this little picture there. Leo Messi there, a free agent. Islanders newest winger possibly. Leo Messi.
I can say all I know is he's not going to score any clutch goals. That's for certain.
Holy shit.
Put Cristiano Ronaldo up there, perhaps.
Michael T saying crafty Lou, canister Lou. Oh God.
No.
Oh man. Nick D said, hey guys, great show as always. I'm excited about the coach getting on the show soon. He'll try to keep Grumpy in line.
He'll try, but since I found out that he's the night janitor at Islander Central, he's kind of lost a little bit of cachet. I thought he actually had some contacts. I didn't realize he was just rummaging through garbage cans to get his information.
Michael D here saying, I think most Islander fans are not taking into consideration with the amount of hockey the Islanders have played in the last 2 years and a short off season. Plus, that is brutal. That's also something important worth mentioning, right? You talk about players in the off season, and this is something that really you don't think too much about unless you actually are in the moment or a player on that team. The off season is a time period where you got to at least take about a week or two to recover off of that brutal season, assuming you don't have any legitimate serious injuries, no surgery was needed. After you get that week or two off, that's when you start saying, hey, I need to start ramping up slowly again. I need to start hitting stride here with off-season workouts. I need to start working on improvement. But if you're always playing, and that's why it's so tough for these dynasties to continue. That's why what the Islanders did back in the 80s was so unbelievably impressive. The fact that you're playing another 2 to 2.5 months later than every other team with the majority of teams in the NHL. It's hard to stay path there with what's going on. It's hard to stay on target with, everything you've got going on.
Yeah, the only caveat that I'll say to that is the fact that they've had the 2 shortened regular seasons, which kind of offsets that a little bit. So, and they won't have that luxury next year, though. That's for certain. You got to remember, what did we pay the year before? 65. Then we had a big break before the playoffs, which I think started in July. And then they started the season up again a little bit later. Only had 56 games. So it kind of evens out. It's like almost regular seasons in actuality. But I do understand his point.
Something to take into consideration, and you definitely look at what they've got going on. The start of this year is going to be brutal. I know as we get closer, we'll talk to it. The start of this season is going to be brutal with the long road trip. We're going to have a lot of games back to back, and we're going to have a lot of time periods. We're going to have 3 games in 4 days. I think it's 11 time periods. We're going to have 3 games in 4 days, 19 back to backs, I believe.
Depth is going to be so important, right? Going into the season, without a doubt, depth. Most important thing. I love this comment here. Bailey in any trade as the player to be named later. I don't have a problem with that. Or how about Bailey for used puck bag or anything? Just get him out of my sight.
Jeremiah B here saying, are you guys ever going to bring back Stump the Grump? And do y'all's wife ever get upset or jealous that y'all are huffing each other's farts live for us all 4 nights a week?
For me, no. My wife likes the fact that I'm not bothering her for that time frame.
I think my wife is the same way.
Yeah, so no problem at all. I mean, would you rather deal with me, on a regular basis, or say, yeah, go do your thing, buddy? I can go over here and do anything else.
Yeah, my wife's the same exact way. Stump the Grump, I don't know. We got to get Paige back on for Stump the Grump. That's a good point. But moving right along here.
There's another moving right along. Thank you very much. Coming up on the back turn. Yeah.
Moving right along here. George P. also said, worse than that, this is an old team that now has to play 82-game seasons instead of the shortened seasons.
And that's my concern. That's my concern. When you don't incorporate any youth into the roster, guys they're not going to have more stamina as they go older. They're going to have less. I mean, that's just a fact of getting older. I hate to tell you.
Nick D said, I just hope Lou doesn't sign Parise or Zajac. They're too old. Holland is losing his mind. Maybe you meant to say Lamoriello's losing his mind.
No, he's talking
Holland.
about
I didn't
Ken Holland.
Ken Holland's losing his mind signing Darnell Nurse there to that amount.
And I always thought Ken Holland was a really good GM. I have to question that move though. I didn't understand it. I thought way too much money for him. Now watch him have a breakout season, score 75, 80 points. Who knows? But just doubtful.
Michael T said Cole McCarr better than Hedman? Question marks.
Yeah,
I think
Hedmonton's way better than Cale McCarr. What does Cale McCarr have on his side? He's 21 years old, and the kid, he's offensive though. He's not an all-around player that Hedman is. That's the whole thing. He's not the all-around player that Victor Hedman is.
Michael D there saying, I think a lot of Islander fans are not taking into account the amount. Oh, I'm sorry. That isn't already read there. But he also wants to add there, you're signing guys like Zajac, you're signing guys like Parise. That amount is going to be the shortened with the short time period in the offseason. That adds up there on your Zajacs. It adds up on those guys' tire. The tread on the tires is running thin. Yeah,
I'd much rather give the shots to a Bellows, and I want to see Aho get a shot. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with sliding a Bulldog in there every once in a while. Why not? I'd much rather incorporate younger guys, break them into the system, even if it's 2 or 3 games at a time, send them back to the A or whatever you have to do, as opposed to bringing more older guys up there.
David D here saying, I like Lou Lamoriello a lot, but will not be giving him 100% credit until I see more, not just signing our own players back.
Well, when was the last time he signed somebody from another team that was anything other than a fourth line winger?
Besides bottom 6 guys, he hasn't. Like when you say something like that, it's not as cut and dry because you build your team through the draft. How many times do you see a whole bunch of guys who are top 6 forwards or top 4 defensemen available there to be signed in free agency? The only guy really we would need is a top six forward. But besides this offseason, we haven't need to really bolster our defensive top 4 or anything of that nature.
Well, that's true. Now you need to do both, and he's done neither so far. So, I mean, those are just things you need to do, and he hasn't done either. That's all I'm saying.
Michael T said, I love when Grumpy Old Man gets all animated and jerky dancing in his chair. I'd say I love that too.
I do the Lane Bennett stance. Yeah.
Oh, man. Goodness gracious. Moving right along, though.
Man, you're whipping out the moving right along. Yeah, that's really coming up on the – I think in the stretch that one's leading now over to theirs.
I bet you it is. I bet you it is because, again, you don't read any of the comments, and I've got a whole bunch of comments I'm trying to discern and decipher through. As you've got
besides the ones that you lost that made me look good. Besides those, right? You don't have to read those anymore. That's
it. Brian J. said Lou would have got fired a long time ago if it wasn't for Trotz being a great coach.
Disagree. He's done a good job, and he's done it with the parameters of what Barry wants as a coach. That's the one thing that Lou Lamoriello does really well. He works in conjunction with the coach. What the coach wants, he's able to get them. That's what makes him seriously a great general manager.
Mrs. Bailey said, you stinking meanie Islander fans will deeply regret trading my perfectly little Joshy Poo to St. Louis for Tara Shoulder. You will see my little baby will be an MVP of the year. He will win a Conn Smythe.
Well, I'm just going to respectfully, Mrs. Bailey, disagree with you on that. Could you imagine Josh Bailey winning MVP of anything? He didn't even win MVP of his junior team. Nothing.
Michael Teal said, yeah, Grumpy, you know how to be a general manager from your couch.
What's wrong? I mean, what do you think? That Lou levitates over the room when he makes decisions? I guarantee he's sitting on a couch too. Or in a chair.
Sit in his chair, Grump. You got to get a chair. This is what Lou sits in. This is what real men sit in. They sit in chairs, not couches like that.
Everyone knows that the couch is my prop for this show. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it.
Oh, goodness gracious. And then Michael T also saying, I think Grumpy deep down is dying to be a Rangers fan.
Absolutely not. Sorry. No. Wrong.
D
I gotta say, I do like the Rangers, the old classic Rangers uniform, the white ones with the blue pants with the Rangers down there. I always thought that looked sharp.
But he says also, only one team wins a cup. You're not being prophetic or intelligent when you blurt out the Islanders aren't going to win a cup just because they don't get Tarasenko.
I never said they weren't winning a cup because they won't get Tarasenko. I'm saying they have no shot of winning the cup without a Tarasenko. Tarasenko might not be enough to put them over the top, but it shows that at least they're trying and they're looking, well, gosh, we can't put any pucks in the net. What are we going to need? We're going to need someone who can do that. This guy's a proven scorer. Why wouldn't you go out and try to improve your team like that? If you don't, it's just like shampoo Lou. Wash, rinse, repeat. You're just doing the same thing, bringing back the same old geezer squad from year to year, and you expect the results to change. They never change.
I will tell you this. If we don't make a bold move in order to bolster our lack of offensive acumen, because that's always been the biggest need that we've had. We've had goaltending. We've got defense. We need more offensive firepower. If we don't make the move in order to do that, and again, I think this is stupid and silly that we're even talking about it because we are going to get Tarasenko. If we don't, though, it's a colossal blunder. It's a colossal misstep because our window is finite. If he doesn't do something to bolster our chances to win with a finite window, I'll be shocked. I really will. I don't think it's even in the cards that we wouldn't get Tarasenko. I'd be, again, if I'm going to Vegas, I'm putting money that we're getting Tarasenko. I really am. We're getting Tarasenko, Johnny Gaudreau. I don't care. Throw some name out there. We're bringing in an elite winger this offseason. We've got the cap to go ahead and do so.
So if you go to DraftKings, our sponsor, if you go to them and you're going up to the betting window and you're going to go,
I don't know what the odds are of Tarasenko being an Islander, but I'd have to think that I'm putting my money on that for certain.
Okay. All right.
D-Cut said, if we only had a prospect like the Three Amigos and not a bust like Casper, we'd already have Tank already.
See, D-Cut, again, bringing hot to the table. Haven't heard from D-Cut a couple episodes. Missed him a little bit. He called in tonight and then brings up the Three Amigos, which I have not done. But D-Cut, I have been giving you credit, and I have been bringing him up on previous podcasts just to keep the love going. But thank God that you did today. And everyone knows I hate Casper.
B Base said, guy on the right is a freaking legend. He's talking about you, Grumpy.
Thank you very much.
I made sure to read the comment when you get your little praises there. Alex R said, hello, everybody. What's up, Alex? Dylan D said, Chara in shock. No.
Dylan even knows. No.
Michael T there said, grading the offseason is childish and presumptuous.
Oh, looks like Michael T learned a couple of big words since the last time
he was on. Hey, no problem with that.
You're presumptuous. Well, I'm just going to tell you one thing right now. The question was asked to grade the offseason so far, which is what I did. People ask me questions. I answer them, Michael.
Yes. Also, that being said, we're moving right through it. Tommy B said, $750K does not prevent you from adding a big player. I think you're making a bold assumption, assuming that Zach Parise is only getting $750K. If you offer him a 1, 2, or 3 year deal, I assume a 3-year deal had to be less than $1 million, and that would lead me to believe that a 1-year deal they're going to pay him more than $1 million. I'm not sure how much more, but they gave a guy, a 37-year-old left winger, a lot of options. I know it's lose weight to throw a lot of options out there, but if he's signed on anything besides less than $1 million, that's where I'm starting to say maybe we overpaid a guy. I think though that bring in Parise is a good choice.
Everything adds up. Every little bit adds up. The $750 here. Instead of giving a guy $4 million, you give him $4.5 million here. That's $500. And Casey, if he signs for 3.5 as opposed to 2.5, or the 2.375 that Howla signed for, that all adds up over the period of time.
Okay, but Parise, you're not going to get a roster player cheaper than $750,000 a year. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. If you're trying to get a $750, that's good. I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, if you don't have an agreement with him already, then you can make the big move. And then if you don't have the money after that, well, sorry, we couldn't sign you. But if you already have that $750 earmarked for him, that's less than you can.
$750 is minimum. So you're going to have to fill a roster spot with it. If you fill the guy with a minimum, it doesn't affect it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Him. You did not need him.
You're going to have to hold on.
He wasn't needed.
You're not understanding. You're not understanding the point I'm trying to make up. Here it is, right? If you bring a guy and you have him on minimum, league minimum, it's not going to affect. It's a roster spot that's filled at league minimum. I'm saying, though, if you offer him a 1, a 2, and a 3-year deal, the likelihood of you giving a 1-year deal at league minimum is very low. So I'm sure he's getting more than league minimum. And that's the only way I can entertain that idea that you've got, Grump.
When you have restricted free agents like Kiefer Bellows or Michael Del Cole, who could fill that spot as opposed to giving it to a veteran, you wait at the end. What was the market for Zach Parise? What was the market for him? Just like what was the market for Travis Zajac? Very, very limited. You let them sit there for a while. You don't have to sign them right away or earmark funds to them. That's my point.
My brain's going to collapse because I think you're running in a circle. You don't understand what we're trying to say. But Kiefer Bellows, technically would have a higher cap hit than $750K league vet minimum, right?
But you're going to sign him back anyway.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to happen at league vet minimum. But in this scenario, if they sign him to a 1-year league vet minimum with incentives, you're kicking the cap hit down the road, which I'm not a fan of. But if you get him towards league minimum, that's fine. I have no issue with it. It's cheaper than playing a guy like a Bellows or playing a guy like an Otto Koivula. And I think they bring more value immediate than Kiefer Bellows does. And let's be honest, Kiefer Bellows is gone. So, I mean, he's going to be traded. There's no doubt in my mind. They have no plans on playing that kid. Doesn't matter what he does.
You keep on making these proclamations like it's already happened. Right now, he's still part of the team. Okay?
It's like the same proclamation I'll make, then why the hell do they still have Otto Koivula on this roster? Why do they still have him? If he has any value at all, you think he has any value, move him, because you're never going to play a guy like Otto Koivula.
Well,
you're never going to play Kiefer Bellows. You're never going to play those guys, move them.
Maybe Lou is just trying to string them out and kill their careers till he can't sign them anymore, and then they go for, a personal tryout contract like Josh Hosang. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Well, here's an additional question based off of that. Never mind. I forgot. I apologize. Moving right along, though. Moving right along here. George P. there said, if you have a team built for the playoffs, you have to make sure you get to the playoffs.
I think it's going to be a little bit tougher this year than it has been the last 2.
I worry about the bold moves the team in our divisions made. They might be awful moves. They might be good moves. I have no idea how quickly the maturation process and how quickly, the Crosbys will begin to fade and the Malkins and the Ovechkins. Who the hell knows? Those are teams. I mean, right? Pittsburgh won the division last year.
Yep. That said, our team is just as old as those 2 teams. I mean, except they have higher talent level than we have. I mean, Ovechkin is older, but I mean, Crosby's right in that same age as most of our guys, and he's vastly superior talent-wise than anybody we have on the team.
Rusty Spooner said, unleash Lee, Wallstrom, Ratu, Barzal, Pelech, Sorokin, Parise, Cizikas on the right spots and let Aho play. Wear cup material 100%. I will also tell you this. Sebastian Aho, think about that, right? A guy who's been an AHL All-Star 3 years in a row. So a guy who's been an AHL All-Star 3 years in a row and
can't crack our lineup somehow.
Can never. I will say our defense is stout, but you figure that's a guy who, if you were to trade or to move him, there has to be some type of market for a guy who is consistently at the top. Let's put it, AHL is one level right below the NHL. He is an all-star caliber player at the AHL level 3 years in a row for us. You have to figure maybe he can move on to a team that's defensive hungry and maybe get a chance and can maybe stick. There has to be some sort of market. That's maybe why I'm thinking Aho might get a chance. The only way I'm thinking that. He's not also young 20s. I mean, he's 25, 26 years old.
Okay. Do you think even in previous years, 3-time All-Star in the AHL wasn't good enough to even sniff the lineup, but a 39-year-old Andy Green was? Think about that. He's not an all-star at any level now at this point in his career.
Jerry Springer here saying, bringing weird questions to the table and I like it. Who would win in a tag team death match? You guys are the eyes on aisles.
We would absolutely win. No doubt in my mind.
Grumpy's speaking real heavy, but I'm saying Grumpy's not pulling his weight in this scenario. It's going to be me against two individuals, and Grumpy just kind of sitting on the couch.
I use a foreign object on him, anything I could. We're going to be the heels, first of all. I'm not taking out of my trunks the brass knuckles and hit a guy when the ref's back is turned. I got no problem with that.
God almighty.
It's a death match. Anything goes. Anything goes.
Well, Alexander said, I can't wait to see Grumpy's reaction to all the signings. I know he seems all pessimistic, but I'd be down despite a long-term contract. The Cizikas being 6 years, $2.5 million is excellent. I think that's exactly what we needed for his cap hit to be an AAV. And this cap hit here for Pelech there, 5.75 AAV, that's excellent. I think we're going to see a few of those coming around. I think realistically, even though Parise, hey, let's say he's looking at, league vet minimum, I think he's probably going to get $1.5 million, which honestly doesn't bother me. If you're paying Parise 2 or more than 2, that's where I'm like, that's an issue.
Okay.
If he's on a 1-year deal, I think
somebody says 750 before. Now you're saying 1.5, 1.25. It's all too much money for a guy who's 37 years old and was a healthy scratch for a team that was horrible last year.
$7.5 million is league vet minimum, Grump. That's the least you can give him to have him under contract.
Why would you give him any more than that? He's toast. He's cashed. He's 37 and was a healthy scratch. He's a depth player. Why are you trying to make me angry? Is there a reason?
You're making me angry. Always Yangry said, speaking about being angry, Always Yangry said, Grumpy, where the hell did you get that shirt? From Brett, Let's Go Islanders, Brett at Net Threads.
Yes, Brett at Net Threads with a Z at the end. He gives me all my shirts for free, so I have no problem at all pumping him up.
Jerry B also said, what do you guys think about Ryan Reeves on the Rangers? Laughing my ass off. How many times do him and the shell of Matt Martin go at it this year? Do we throw Ross the Boss in for a rematch with him?
Matt Martin can't keep up with Ryan Reeves. Ross Johnston, we haven't seen him much since he got knocked out at the tail end of last year. I don't know what, he's like one of those UFC fighters. They get knocked out once, all of a sudden that aura of invincibility isn't there anymore. So you kind of wonder where he's coming from after that. But he has a better shot against Ryan Reeves than Matt Martin does.
Matt Martin's not fighting. Matt Martin's not fighting Ryan Reeves. I'd be kind of afraid there for Matt Martin.
Not even if he had, the one arm that was a $6 million man arm. Not even that.
Oh, goodness gracious. Do you remember the meme of Chara and Matt Martin when they went ahead and got into that fight earlier on this year, Grumpy?
Yeah, Chara, but his thing, Chara can still fight. That much I'll give him. But, he didn't want to hurt Matt Martin. He didn't want to hurt him.
Well, I want to bring this up. This is, again, like Ryan Reeves is not as tall, but anytime I think about Ryan Reeves fighting Matt Martin, I just think of this picture right here. Chara and Matt just like, holy shit, I'm getting way too old for this fighting garbage. I'm getting way too old for this shit.
Yeah. Well, he's lucky he married Boomer Esiason's daughter. That's all I have to say.
Oh, no. He was a hell of a...
And the girls love him. The girls love Matt Martin. They love him.
Yeah, that's for certain they do. Michael T said, how many goals will we be happy with Parise scoring? I think he's going to come in and be a third-line left winger. That also being said...
Why are you not able to answer the question that the guy asked?
Because it's not so cut and dry. It's not always cut and dry. If you're playing alongside Oliver Wahlstrom and Jean-Gabriel Pageau, I think you need at least 15 goals and something like 20-plus assists to be successful on that line. At least bare minimum 35 points with 15 goals. Zach Parise playing on a line with Jean-Gabriel Pageau and Oliver Wahlstrom, I'd expect to score something like 20.
Okay, so you're saying 20 is your answer.
Because he's going to get power play time for certain. I think 20 playing on that line, 20.
I'll say he'll be lucky to score 15. Lucky to score 15. Lucky to score 15. Lucky, I tell you, to score 15.
Rusty Spooner said, let's get real, Grumpy. We're top 4 right now. To win cups 100%. Damn, you're grumpy.
Okay, what do you mean we're top 4? We weren't top 4 in the league last year. We haven't been top 4 in the league since 1985. We're not top 4 in the league. If you look at standings, playoffs don't count.
All that matters is getting to the playoffs and then winning.
We were top 4 in our division. We were 4th in our division. How are you top 4 in the league if you're 4th in your division? There's 4 divisions.
I mean, it's a good point. We did get
I
to
am
the
grumpy.
semifinals.
Thank you.
It's we did get to the semifinals. That's about the only way I could do it. And then Brian J said, "I wish Grumpy Old Man was the general manager of the New York Islanders."
See, Brian is very smart. I wish I was too. There wouldn't be the cone of silence, right? That's this year's third. The cone of silence from Captain Lou Albano, Lou Lamarillo, right? The cone of silence. Why? Because he keeps his mouth shut. Stop making it sound like it's something great.
Dylan D said, even if no medical there report on Vladimir Tarasenko, we long-term injury him and use his cap. So, if he comes in and gets hurt, you could put him on long-term injury. You'd have exactly what his cap hit was in order to use, but it's not like you get extra money there for it. So again, that's a way you can kind of hedge your bets. Let's say he's torn his shoulder 3 times. He tears it again at the trade deadline. You'd have an extra $7 million you could spend around because Tarasenko no longer counts against, or you can go over the cap via whatever Tarasenko's contract was.
Well, Dylan, I know this is the first time I've seen Dylan in the comments. TJ I'm not privy to seeing them otherwise, but it's the first ones have been posted. But Dylan, don't be so pessimistic. I believe he's healthy. That's why I want him, because I believe he's healthy and he's ready for a resurgence, and that's because I'm positive all the time.
Oh, goodness gracious. Jerry B asking this question: who would win an arm wrestling match between Conspiracy Corner Custodian Tommy Baffy or Phil's Facts? Hey, I tell you, I have no idea what Phil's Facts looks like. I don't think he's going to be visual when he comes on the podcast. I think he's just going to use a stock image. He's going to let his what do you mean no?
I want to see his face. I want to see what he looks like. You don't come on my show and put up some static
your show. It's our show, Grumpy, first off. And second off, I don't care. I kind of like him masquerading in the silence there. I think it builds to him.
You realize his static picture is one of Barry Trotz. If I got to stare at that for 2 hours, I'm going to lose my freaking mind.
I don't know. We'll talk with Phil's Facts. Anyway, Nick D said this upcoming season will be an eye opener for the Islanders. I think we're the 5th oldest team in the NHL. It's going to be a long haul for the Pensioneers.
2nd oldest team in the league. Only Washington's older than we are. Only Washington, 2nd oldest team in the league. And we're rounding the clubhouse. We're ready. We're right up there with them. Bring Chara in. See how that works out.
TJ, hiccup improving. Hiccup. Drew asked.
Yeah. See, I don't have you for that many, but I also.
I'm sure Drew's keeping count at home.
Yeah.
Drew's the one who's keeping count.
The TJ drinking game. How many times he says there? That was at 8. Yeah, everybody's loaded by now.
And then also Rusty Spooner saying, "God damn, TJ, laughing my ass off." I must be saying a lot there. Oh, well,
you've been saying the other phrases that you like to do, your repetitive phrases. We're just trying to help you. You understand? We're trying to get you over the hump of your, the things you say over and over and over and over again every single podcast.
Yeah, Dylan D also saying, want to see Grumpy and Tommy Baffy show. Something tells me this could be something. Yeah, for certain it is. It always is. We like having Coach Tommy B on. He's coming on Wednesday.
I always like somebody who can clean up the studio after the show. So that's why we got Tommy on.
Oh, stop. Michael T said, I have the grumpy mindset with Chara. He is too old, unfortunately. Would have loved to have him about 3 to 5 years ago.
I would like to have most of the Islander players 3 to 5 years ago when they were in their 20s or their early 30s. Not now.
Jerry B saying, TJ, you can't freaking read at all. Laughing my ass off. You need some glasses or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I get tongue tied. But
reading comprehension, not his strong suit, ladies and gentlemen.
I struggled in phonics. I struggled with that there. There was one Grumpy. There was one of those theirs that they talk about so much. Paul W said, Lou, make a midnight deal for number 91 in St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Absolutely. Brian J. also said, we sat Oliver Wahlstrom. He had the most power play goals. I think he was tied there with Anders Lee. Yep, shaking my head.
Was he 21 years old? There's your answer. We'd rather play a 37-year-old or a 34-year-old lollipop Komarov out there who wouldn't even venture into the offensive zone. Put that guy out there. Why? He helps us play defense. Well, you got to score goals to win. That's why we got to score 21-11.
Dylan was also saying, I think Grumpy's getting upset because he didn't win General Manager of the Year.
I'm just saying it was fixed. That's all. I think Rillo, and the rest of the, the mob said, Hey, make sure you vote for Lou.
And then Dave C said, "In Grumpy, we trust."
Thank you, Dave. Good picture.
Look what he's saying over here, though. Lou would have Grumpy Old Man crying in a corner.
Yeah, that'd be the day.
And Michael T said, Vladdy, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. Come on, Grumpy, sing it.
Vladdy, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
Oh, goodness gracious. Dave C there, or Dave C also said, TJ, the Eastern Conference Finals in a short season, that doesn't translate to a full season. Grumpy's right, and Grumpy we trust.
I tell you what, Dave is moving up, man. He's moving up on the Grumpy Old Man charts. I can tell you right now.
Oh, goodness. Godzilla saying Mike Bossy might be interested in a comeback while we're at it.
Yeah, true. Why not? He could score 30 goals in his sleep.
Oh,
you realize he scored more goals when he had a bad back, a debilitating back disease in his last year playing than Josh Bailey has his entire career. You're aware of that, right?
D-Cut is saying TJ loses comments when he sees my name pop up. Grump, get him in line.
Yeah, see, I know that TJ, that makes the Grumpy Old Man look good. Delete. He looks for something that makes him look good. His little minions have no problem getting their comments read. None at all. His little pals. Phil Facts. Look at the people who come on the podcast right in the offseason. His buddies, Tommy Baffy, right? Phil Facts. All of TJ's buddies.
Oh, goodness.
It's not a secret, ladies and gentlemen. It really isn't.
Godzilla saying, Grump, incorrect about Lee versus Ladd. Godzilla has spoken. I told you, Anders Lee better than Andrew.
Why don't you tell us again how Anders Lee is better than Patrick Kane? Why don't you go into that soliloquy?
Grump, if I could go over to your house and just bam, punch you one right there, I would, Grumpy. God almighty.
Violence is always the tool that people who aren't smart enough to battle wits, that's what they use. It's not surprising that you'd use it, honestly, against me.
You've got an audience. You've got your captive audience. Taco Fall there saying, hey, Vladdy, I want to know, will you score a goal? He likes it.
Yeah, here's the thing. Vladimir would not have a song like that. You want to know why? Because he consistently puts the puck in the net. What does Josh Bailey never do? He never scores. He's the only guy who gets power play time and never puts a puck in the net or won't even shoot the puck. Think about that. How do you have a guy like that on your power play?
Dave C said, here's a pro Grumpy post, and Grumpy we trust. I've been listening the past 3 weeks, and he speaks nothing but the truth.
And you would think, let me tell you something, I'm going to say it again, the Islander cartel, the little yes men, yes, Lou can do no wrong, he's our hero, Barry, the greatest thing ever, yeah. They don't like us. Why? Because I speak the truth. They just want fall in line. We're going to goose step to what the Islanders say. That's what they do, right? Not me. You're never going to hear that from me. Not going to happen. Truth. Speak the truth.
I love it. I love it, Grumpy. I hope somebody clips that for me too. Coach Tommy B said, we might have to start teaching some of these cap experts how to add and subtract. I'll tell you. Yeah, but I will say.
Tommy doesn't know how to add and subtract. That much I can tell you right now. I've been listening to his garbage. Right. Now was he 6 years, 2.5? Last week, it was 5 years, 3.5. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what garbage he pulled out of the bin. I mean, maybe it was a different contract. Is one of those Palmieri's contracts? I don't know. But we're going to get Tommy on the grill on Wednesday. And I want to find out what he really knows. Go ahead. I know he's one of your little pals. I know.
I was about to say, are you going to ask him what type of does Lou Lamoriello write in pen or pencil or Sharpie when he goes ahead and finds these notes in the garbage in the receptacle bins? What is he writing in? What are you going to ask him, Grump? What are you going to ask?
I care what he writes with. I want to know the numbers.
Fair enough here. Godzilla also saying, agreed with TJ. This time is now to sign somebody who can put up 30 to 40 goals.
I've been saying that for 3 years, and nobody says, hey, I agree with the Grumpy Old Man. Who is this Godzilla guy? I like him. Usually, I like he's very thoughtful. I like his picture. I always love the pictures of the people. That's the one thing I look at. But, yeah, we've needed that for years and years and years.
Paul W. saying he wants a shirt there, talking about it. Got to go to Net Threads.
No, I think he wants the Grumpy's Groupie shirt, the one that you're supposed to be doing for 1.5 years. You've been, once again, over-promising and underproducing, once again.
I hate when I do that.
Grumpy's, the picture of me, Groupies, sell like hotcakes.
Oh, goodness gracious there. Oh man. We're gonna have a call link in here in a moment. We're gonna get to one more comment.
Another call.
Yeah, another call, a late call though. And then Godzilla also said, of course, Lou is going to do something. He's going to do a big signing. Silly to think that he won't.
Well, we'll see it. The next big signing he makes will be the first since he's been GM.
Or he'll make a trade.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need first-round draft picks or second-round draft picks or any draft picks.
Hey, you're live here, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hey guys, late call. It's Mike M.
What's up, Mike? How are you?
I'm all right. I want to say hello and shout out to Isles Misery. Shout out to Brian Pauser. I saw Grumpy's wearing the Bailey shirt tonight, so I thought I would let him know that I made a poll on the Isles Drive for 5 Facebook page of who you'd rather have for the next 3 years. Current day, Ovechkin or Josh Bailey. And the poll was almost even in the end.
What? I'll take 6 weeks of Alex Ovechkin over 15 years of Josh Bailey. Josh Bailey sucks. He sucks.
You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious.
My God. You know what? See, oh, man. Where that poll is invalid. Invalid. You know, ask Lou who would rather have. Would you rather have Alex Ovechkin or Josh Bailey?
If the contracts are going to be the same, everybody's got to take Alexander Ovechkin, right? You figure that's a no-brainer.
It's so
Even if they're not the same.
I'm not down for Ovechkin at 10.5 or whatever he's getting paid now for 3 years.
9.5. He's done his. I'll tell you what, it's a little bit of an overpay, but he's an all-time great, and he can still put the puck in the net.
God almighty.
Josh Bailey's a waste.
Imagine him and Wallstrom on alternating power plays. You got to pass that up, TJ.
I'm not going to pass that up. I don't like that.
And Mike, I know you're going to be listening next week. Mike, you're going to be listening next week.
I will.
Kyle's Girl 3 on. Is that correct?
Yes, I will be.
I know you will be.
Thanks, Mike, for the call. And we'll have to.
All right, brother.
I'm still. My brain's all wacky there. Thanks, Mike, for the call. They'd rather have Josh Bailey over Alexander Ovechkin. That has to be. Maybe people are just trolling. I don't know.
No, they're not trolling. They're the bootlicking weasel squad that I tell you about.
Oh, goodness gracious. Godzilla also saying the Islanders dynasty was about 187 years ago, FYI.
Not true.
Not a long time ago. I get what he's saying.
It was a long time ago, yeah. But not 187 years ago.
And then
moving right along.
We've got to go. I'll let you read this one, Grump. I'll let you take a comment for once.
We have to bring back Yuri Krupp. I liked him. He's a good player for us. Part of that deal with Turgeon many, many years ago.
Oh, Eric, I'm sorry.
What's the other one? Go back to the other one.
We're going to go to the other one. I'm sorry, Eric. I lost some of the comments. The comments disappear if I don't scroll quick enough and we don't get to them quick enough. I apologize, Eric.
What was the one we had up before, Eric? There we go. It's definitely anti-Islanders. They always favor all the other teams in our division, specifically the Rags, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Boston. Well, Boston is not in the division any longer, so we don't need to worry about them. But here's the thing. What do all those teams do better than we do? Play exciting brand of hockey.
Make money. Oh, sorry.
Here's the thing. Sometimes watching the Islanders play is like pulling teeth. It's not very exciting. It just isn't. But those other teams score goals. Lackluster Lou from D-Cut. Thank you very much is the best nickname because he said it. D-Cut's very, very good at those nicknames. I got to say.
Dave C said somebody put Grumpy in charge of the comments.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they'd all get read. And they'd be read in an exciting fashion, not you. They mumble and bumble over the words. Shampoo Lou. Not only is it wash, rinse, repeat, and he had no hair, double entendre. Lou Mertra, though, has multiple meanings and interpretations. I agree with that one. And I just came up with it. Grump, care to decipher it? Well, that's exactly right. Going on our Godfather theme for the night, right? Lou Merta. That's kind of what we're going in. I like that one. It might be over the head of some of these Islander sycophants, but not for the smart fans such as myself.
I couldn't tell you what that makes an implication to Lou Merta. I don't know what that is.
Case in point, right there. Thank you very much.
Fair enough.
For the unintelligent, the unwashed fan such as TJ, well, you get what you get.
Oh my goodness. Again, moving right through it there. Tommy B also says you should star in a trivia segment. Have a guest on Grumpy's Couch. 3-question winner gets a prize. I was about to say I don't know if we can afford to go ahead and fly somebody out to Grumpy's Couch on a consistent basis, but look at that Grumpy. Even after that couch is broken down and no longer usable, it's still going to be a little problem.
Okay. We should bring guests out to bring on Grumpy's Couch, which probably would be a good segment. But just think about how how low budget this show is, Tommy. You're going to be on it on Wednesday. That's all I have to say. And I know we're not paying you. That was just low hanging fruit right there.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, man, oh, man. Azaria P there saying Islanders got Richard Pjanic in the Leddy trade. Why would they need Parise or Zajac?
Because they're all old. The more old guys, the better. The less chance for a young guy to prosper in this organization.
And then Michael M saying, nice shirt, Grumpy. Wish he was a Kraken or maybe a Blues.
I wish he was retired. That's what I wish. I'm
still shocked Islander fans out there would say they'd rather have Josh Bailey over Alexander Ovechkin.
I'm not shocked. It's now that website, I don't even know the name of it, but it's probably one of those ham and egg pro Islander websites where, hey, everything's sunny in Islander land. Doesn't matter what it is. Everything's great. We could be losing 15-0. Hey, don't worry. We're going to get there. No.
Oh, goodness gracious. Moving. Oh, Jeremiah B there saying, have you guys ever watched Trailer Park Boys? I have. Grump, watch it. It's a Netflix. I bet you like it's Canadian. It's like that.
I have watched it, but I couldn't get into it. I only saw a couple episodes. I'm like, that's not that good. But maybe they were some of the really early ones that were like really pretty old. So
you've got to get through the first season. I drudged it out for the first season. I'm like, okay, now this is kind of funny there with Adrian and Julian. The show's pretty. I like it. It's kind of funny. He's also saying here, better defensemen in their prime, Ryan McDonough or Adam Pelech.
Man, I'll tell you what, Ryan McDonough underrated, really underrated. Gosh, that's a tough question. I think Pelech is better defensively, but Ryan McDonough really all around probably a better player.
Here you are sounding more and more like a Rangers fan. This feeds into Mike T's narrative.
I'm just being honest. I'm just telling the truth. Why don't you ask me a question like somebody who's better, Mike Bossy or somebody else? Then I guarantee I'm going to say Mike Bossy.
Oh man. Jerry B also saying he could throw a football further. TJ Grump, I'm sure I could. Grumpy, I don't know.
No. Here's the thing. I got a torn rotator cuff. I can throw the ball further than you can. You can't throw it all. You suck. You throw like a girl. You throw like an offensive lineman.
Oh my!
That's what you throw like. No. And here's the thing. I guarantee I'm more accurate. You might be able to throw it into the stands. I'm able to hit wide receivers.
Oh goodness gracious!
I'm able to hit where I'm throwing the ball to. Not you.
Oh man!
You put the
you crack me up
because you throw like Ryan Pulak shoots.
You're saying with a whole bunch of power,
miss the target. That's what I'm saying.
Oh God! Paulo C saying, if no trades, why do we not try Bavillier, Barzal, Wallstrom, Lee on the second line, Bellows on the third line? We might as well have a young top scoring line. I know, Grumpy, you'll agree with me.
They're not going to play that first line because they don't play enough defense. Bellows, well, he's young, so we're not going to put him in the lineup. And Lee, well, we just want to make him look as good as possible, even though he's just an average talent. So we're going to put him with the best player on our team. That's why they don't do it. Should they do it, they should try something like that. Mix the lines up a little bit. You don't want to be one of the worst scoring teams in the league, do you? You're going into a new stadium. If the celebration, everyone is, maybe we get a shootout victory. I mean, I don't know. You want to excite the fans. They should hire me for the broadcasts. That's what they should do. I'll tell you what, more people would watch. That much I can guarantee you.
You'd be one of those polarizing figures where they'd either love or they hate you. And it'd only be about a week until somebody would have a complaint in HR and you'd be gone.
Well, that's possible too. But that's all right. But wait, AJ's not there, so I could talk shit about her hair since she's not with the organization anymore, right?
You'd be gone. You'd be canned. You'd be canned within a week.
For what? I don't know why I'd be look at the fire hydrant that DJ's drinking out of. You just like crack the nut over and just chug it down. How does that work?
Hey, I've just got it, and I'm always chug-a-lugging along.
Make sure you cap it up so you don't spill it over the floor like last time.
I'd rather spill it than cap it. I don't want to have to cap it every time I put it to my mouth. That being said, we are moving right along. Michael T saying, which is more definite? We're getting Tarasenko or we're getting Parise? Oh, I think Parise is more definite than Tarasenko.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
If I'm going to Vegas and I have to bet between Parise re-signing or Parise coming here or us making a move for Tarasenko, it's going to be Parise. B Base said, what would be the best trade package for Tarasenko? Grump, I'll let you take that.
Going to have to move a contract off and a right wing, and that being Josh Bailey. To me, that's the move that if I'm the Islanders, that's the move I want to make. I want to get Bailey. I'm willing to take the extra 2.5 in salary, just get Bailey out of here. And everyone could admit, I want to say that Palmieri is probably a better player than Josh Bailey. Tarasenko is definitely a better player than Eberle. That improves 2 spots on your team. I'm willing to take the extra $2.5 million in cap, just move it out. I don't know if that's on the table or not, but that's what I would be going for. I do not want to give up draft picks, though.
Well, they say they're still trying to compete, right? That's what they always continue to say. We're still wanting to win a cup, blah, blah, blah. Jerry B also saying, Grump, do you like early 90s hip-hop? And TJ, what's your favorite metal band? Grump, I'll let you go here first.
No, for early 90s hip-hop, there are some hip-hop songs I like. As Dick Clark used to say, or like the kids used to say on American Bandstand, it's got to have a good beat and you can dance to it. So, if the song's got a beat, I'm into it, but I really don't understand much of the lyrics. So, sorry.
It's going to sound crazy. I don't really listen to music that much. I ride in the car with the radio off. So, call me weird.
I call you a lot worse than that.
Oh, thank you. Michael T saying Brian J is very drunk talking about the grumpy old man needs to be the general manager. Oh God.
I think he was thinking because he's been taking drinks every time you say there or moving right along or whatever things you say over and over and over again.
Michael T said, how could you say Matt Martin wouldn't fight Ryan Reeves? Matt Martin fought Chara. Chara is a heavyweight champion of the NHL. How often does Matt Martin fight a year? Once, twice a year. He's not known for fighting anymore. That's a guy who he wants to avoid fighting if at all possible. If he has to fight, he will fight. He's not a guy who fights very often, though.
Everyone knows that I've been critical of the $6 million man in the contract he signed last year, but I'm not critical of what he brings to the Islanders. He's not the fighter he was. And I never thought he was a great fighter anyway, but he's not the fighter he was 10 years ago or even, 5 or 6 years ago, right? But he's always willing. If it needs to be, somebody needs to get in there and get beat up for some reason, he's willing to do that. And I give him credit for that because he knows he's not a good fighter anymore, but he's willing to get, take some shots to try to help the team. Nothing wrong with that.
So he had 3.
I sent TJ out there to get beat up for Matt Martin.
He only fought once this year in the regular season. And again, it's a shortened season. He only fought once. And then in 2019, 2020, he only fought twice in the regular season. Again, like you see postseason, he's got technically fights, but those are just scrums where they send people off, for whatever they do. They just send them to the box. But, fights during the regular season, he's had 3 fights in the last 2 years.
Yeah, not much. He's not a fighter anymore.
And the older he gets, I don't think he's going to be fighting.
Right, exactly.
And Paulo C said, TJ, why do you want Parise? We are full of 3rd and 4th liners. Who would want a 35-year-old TJ? Or please, TJ. The reason I would want Zach Parise is because he brings more offensive pop to the party than the current guys that we've got out there. If he would throw Kiefer Bellows on the lineup and he would say, I'll put Kiefer Bellows out there, I'd be fine with that. But he's not going to. So I'm in a situation where I think, okay, would I rather have Leo Komarov out there? Because there's no way Kiefer Bellows is going to get any playing time because I think Kiefer Bellows is as good as gone. I would rather have Zach Parise over Leo Komarov. I guess I would optimally want a steak, but I've also got the opportunity and option between pizza and tuna. I'm going to take pizza over tuna any day of the week, if you catch my drift. That might have been a hideous metaphor or hideous analogy, but that's the way I think of it.
It was a hideous analogy, but hey, that's okay. We don't expect much from you.
It's late.
But
What can I say? I'm going to use that as my excuse.
But what I will say is that that's the whole crux of my argument. Why not give the younger player, Kiefer Bellows, the shot as opposed to signing a pretty much a cashed out veteran at this point in time? Give the young kid a shot. All he does is score when he plays. That's all I'm going to say. 3 games, 3 goals. Why not give the kid a shot? Why not give him a legit chance to get a young guy contribute to the roster?
Dave C saying, absolutely, Grumpy, 14 times.
Absolutely is something that I say. You said it today, but that's my buzzword is absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely it is. Without a doubt.
Jesus Christ. Paula C saying here, we don't need anybody, just a goal scorer, period. And then Michael B also saying, Reeves in the Metro guarantees that Ross Johnson sees the ice at least during Ranger games.
He's a presence that the team needs. I think he's interchangeable with Matt Martin for the most part. They only get 10 minutes a game anyway, but that intimidation factor means that nobody's going to pick on anybody on your team. And it's underrated. It really is.
Michael T saying, we need a new poltergeist there. Ross
Pugilist, not poltergeist.
I'm sorry, Grump. Pugilist. I'll be honest, a pugilist there. Ross Johnson. Yes, we need a new pugilist there. Ross Johnson has not been the same after he got knocked out there in the Flyers game.
Now, that said, I got on you a little bit, but we could need a new poltergeist too. So, not just a pugilist.
Gotcha. Jerry B here saying, shit, imagine Chara and Martin on the same team. The amount of times they fought and Chara beat his ass. How would he be in the locker room? With those, what would you think it'd be like in the locker room for those guys?
It'd be fine. Chara, when they had that last fight, Chara let him off the hook. Chara's not a bad guy. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. He's just old. He's OAF.
OAF. What is that, Grump?
Hey, figure it out. I'm up with the hip lingo.
Oh, God.
The little letters. No one wants to say anything all the way out. GOAT. I just say greatest of all time. GOAT.
D-Cut saying, I give TJ credit. He's a good sport. It's all fun, TJ. No hard feelings. Chia head.
Oh, geez.
Oh, no hard feelings. Michael T saying, dance, Grumpy, dance.
Oh, I'm not dancing tonight because I've had nothing to dance to.
No, you were dancing a little bit.
Was I? I don't remember.
I think so. Michael saying there, TJ rushed me off the line, but it's fine. I couldn't stop laughing. I still cannot believe that people would rather have Josh Bailey for 3 years over Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
D-Cut saying, love Michael giving a shout out to Al's Misery. My boy BP, but he forgot somebody. D-Cut.
Don't worry, D-Cut. I've always got your back. That's all you need to know.
Michael T said, how about congratulations to Jean-Gabriel Pageau for winning the Nystrom Award?
Hey, the greatest number 44 in New York sports history since Reggie Jackson. Thank you very much.
Oh, goodness. Absolutely. Michael M. also saying, a guest on Grumpy's Couch. Now it's really the casting couch.
Yeah, well, I'm not touching that one.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm sorry. There's a lot of comments I'm gonna blast through here. But Grumpy. We're right here at the end. The PPP line there, Parise,
the PP line.
Pageau. Yeah, the PPP line. But Grump, we're right here about at the end. We're about at 3 hours in. Plenty we talked about today. Going live next Wednesday. But you can catch us tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
What time?
8 o'clock Eastern.
Is it going to be at 8 o'clock? You keep on saying these fictitious times. Today we were only 15 minutes late. So, but everybody, seriously, 8 o'clock. Try to be ready at 8 o'clock because even though TJ says 8 o'clock, it's usually a little late. I don't want you to miss anything. So you got to get on right away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also want to show we got a few more comments just rolling in.
And look, I got myself the one to Poochie right here. He must be hungry because he's being my friend. What can I tell you?
Alexander also saying the Canadians proved that young guys can carry a team. I think the past Stanley Cup winners have proved that young guys can win.
You know who doesn't win? Old guys.
Goodness gracious. Oh, D-Cut, last comment here saying TJ favors YouTube comments. Those are facts. Unlike what the sleepy guy will be spewing in a few weeks.
Oh man, I tell you what, he opens up on TJ's buddy Phil Facts right at the top of the show, and he closes it out with another slam.
Goodness gracious.
I can't wait to get Phil on here. But I do want to see his face. I don't want some static picture. I don't want to see.
We'll see what we can do. We're late into the wee hours of the evening or morning, but I want to thank you, Grumpy, for coming on as always. And again, just make sure you guys subscribe there, wherever you guys listen to it on, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on any listening like a Spotify, Apple, iTunes, anything like that. Make sure you subscribe so you make sure you keep up with all the latest podcasts. We will be going live on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel, as well as next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you can catch us tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the description below. That is only on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, not on the audio platforms just quite yet. We are working on it. But thank you again, Grumpy, and thank you everybody who tuned in.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, hold on. There's one more comment here.
Okay, because you didn't even let me say goodbye to the people. You just cutting me off. Say, hey, Grumpy Old Man, I don't care what you have to say.
Sorry, you get to it.
I do just want to say, so Wednesday is Coach Tommy B, the Islanders custodian. And then next Saturday is going to be Isle Girl 3, Kim. And that's as far as I'm going with her name. And then love and laughter, as I say every time, love and laughter to everyone who listened and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Also there, D-Cut, by the way, BP's future father-in-law passed a few days ago. We wanted to send prayers there to Brian P. there. Many prayers go out there, and his girlfriend there, Maureen.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, many prayers there, Brian P. Sorry for the loss. Yes, absolutely, Grump. Many love and laughter to all those who listen, even those who don't. As Grumpy Old says, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be live there again next Wednesday with Tommy B, or tomorrow at TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Thanks for tuning in, guys.